Hello everybody and welcome to episode 49, Rocket 49 of the Spawn Point podcast. We are joined by all four members of the Spawn Point for I think the first time since September or something. So it's the return of the four. So this episode we're mostly just going to be talking about the games we've been playing, like Fallout 4, Just Cause 3, Need for Speed, anything else we've played, and also talk a little bit about some of the stuff that was shown at the PlayStation Experience event, which showed some Final Fantasy VII gameplay and some other stuff as well.
100-foot robot golf.
Yeah. But of course, this episode of the podcast is sponsored by Virtual Gladiators, and you can get 10% off servers, as always, with the code VECTRA. But where should we start today? I guess we start with what we've been playing. I feel like the most interesting game to start with, the game that came out last month. It's been out for almost a month now, and that is Fallout 4.
Fallout 4,
a hugely anticipated game. Lots of hype behind it. But the burning question that's been on everyone's lips is: has it lived up to the hype?
The question that's been on everyone's lips.
Yep.
Ebbie, has it lived up to your hype? I think you're the one that was mostly hyped for this game out of the lot of us.
Yes, I would say so, probably, because I was a very big fan of Fallout 3. And Fallout 4 is like Fallout 3 plus
3.5.
Plus 1, it's Fallout 4, basically. It's everything that I expected it to be, sorry. And I like it. I really, really like it.
I think it's a little bit like, it took Fallout 3 and all the problems and then just polished it up and made it like in a new area, actually added some colour to it, and just improved upon what it already had. A little bit like the Tomb Raider reboot when we were saying about Rise of the Tomb Raider and how Rise of Tomb Raider hasn't supposedly reinvented the wheel, but it doesn't need to. And I feel like in some respects, Fallout hasn't reinvented the wheel, but, it's still getting good review scores and it's got a good reception overall, because it's just building upon a game that people love so much and then, adding to it and fleshing it out and fixing all the problems people had.
Mm-hmm.
Right, first off, before I say stuff...
Oh, God.
Before I say stuff, I have enjoyed the game so far. I have been enjoying it.
Shock!
How much have you played, just out of curiosity?
I think I'm on about 14 hours.
And Ebbie, how much have you...
Let me check.
Right,
well, she's
about
doing
80.
That.
About 80 hours.
So, I'm the one that's played the least amount out, because Matt's got
126.
And Steve hasn't really played it.
10 minutes.
I've enjoyed it so far, but there are some issues that I have with it.
Is it the HUD?
Let's look. I wasn't a fan of the HUD, but that's an aesthetic thing. I can get over that.
Did you try changing the HUD?
I've changed it a bit, and it's not actually quite. I don't mind the HUD when you're in the power armor. I think that's alright. Is that because of just, I don't know, is there any specific reason for that, or? Because it almost feels like it's there, like it feels like you're in the power armor itself, and that would be everything that you'd see inside it, and I think that's why I like it compared to the just, all of the bars just plopped on the screen. But the things that I don't think they started it particularly well. So you start back in...
That's my biggest problem with the game while you're talking about it. The fact that they start in pre-war, and I was like, I'm so excited to see what it was like pre-war.
They showed it at E3,
they showed everything off at E3. There was nothing new there, and I was like, oh.
They could have done so much more. I think, I understand, later on in the game, I'm not quite there yet, that you do actually start, get to build your settlements. And I feel like at the stage where I am, where you get to, right after you exit the vault, after you go into the future times, you get to the red, the truck stop?
Red Rocket.
The Red Rocket truck stop, and it gives you, it just chucks a load of things at you. It gives you, an armor, upgrading station, a power armor upgrading station, a weapons upgrading station, the fact that you can, modify all of this settlement stuff. and it doesn't explain how to do any of it at all.
It does when you actually go in, and it doesn't explain it well, I will say that. But when you go in and try to like build stuff, it'll be like, it'll give you tips and stuff.
Like box that points things out.
It's not good, but it's there.
Yeah, I just feel, and I know you kind of get the hang of it after doing it a few times. But it would have been nice, like if they were going to flesh out the pre-war stuff a bit more, just to give you, I don't know, some optional tutorials. Like I understand people don't like tutorials sometimes, and it can be a bit stucky egg type thing.
I've just thought of a way they could do like the settlement stuff. If you're in pre-war, they could have done a thing where, okay, you leave your house and like one of your neighbours is like, oh, can you help me fix this fence or something?
Yeah.
And you go into like the build mode and then it's like, oh, go to structures and select this.
Or like, oh, honey, the dishwasher's broken. Can you go into the garage and get some spare parts? And they could have just built on it slightly more. And then when all of the menus just feel very clunky, I don't think they're particularly well made. Definitely on a keyboard, I don't think they work very well at all.
Are you on about the Pip-Boy and stuff?
All of them, to be honest.
Well, most of them are in the Pip-Boy. That's why I'm asking.
Pip-Boy, like the structure when you're trying to build a settlement and everything.
I will say with the structures, I'm using an old Xbox 360 pad, and the D-pad is the worst, as we all know. Getting that to like work with the like up and down on the menu and stuff is awful sometimes. I
mean, I think there's an interesting contrast between like PC and console in terms of like how well it, the controls, because obviously with like the PS4 and Xbox One versions, there's obviously a lot of simplicity to how you get your Pip-Boy out, how you cycle through. And I think with the workshops, all you do is like you press the touchpad button down, you hold it down, and then it just appears after like 2 or 3 seconds.
Fun fact is they don't label the Xbox 360 button to open the workshop when you're not at the workbench. It tells you to touch the touchpad on the 360 on the Xbox One pad. Oh, really? So it took me ages to learn that it was the select button that they were talking about rather than anything else.
And the other thing that I was surprised about, like, I imagine the majority of the people that are jumping into Fallout, like 4, will have played the previous one, so they'll be familiar with. They'll be familiar with. Some people might be familiar with VATS, but if you're not, it doesn't mention the fact that it's in there at all. It doesn't even tell you.
Press it by accident and then.
I had to like look up keyboard selections to like how the hell did you get into VATS, and I had to look.
I got stuck in the power armor because the button to like get out of the power armor never showed up for me, and I was just like, how the fuck do I get out of this power armor?
It doesn't do any of the tutorials well. So that's one of the issues I've got with it. Graphically, like it looks quite nice. Like
can I just check? Okay, we're about halfway down the list now, Andy. Keep going.
No, but have you guys had any issues like with the graphics of the game?
I think it's a bit. I mean, I should point out, people listening say that I'm playing it on a PS4 while Andy and Ebbie are playing it on PC. It's a bit. It can be a bit kind of bipolar with the graphics in the fact that it can 1 minute look not so great in one area, but then like in other areas it can look really good. And it's like it kind of jumps between the two. It's like it's not always consistently bad or consistently good. It kind of depends what area you're in. Like I think
downtown Boston always looks arse for me, to be honest.
I think inside seems to look generally better than outside. Like sort of a lot of the rubble as well.
Which really sucks. Because they made a really big deal about this new, like, lighting that they put in the game. They put in this, like, volumetric lighting that was supposed to be, like, a really big deal. And it looks awesome. Like, the lighting in the game is probably my favourite thing about it. That's how much I like the lighting, or how much I don't like the rest of the game. But the problem is, the game doesn't look amazing when you're outside, but it looks a lot better when you're inside, when there is none of that amazing natural lighting that you can see.
I have to say, like, the variance of different regions that I've seen so far, and I've not seen that many, it's a lot better than the previous ones. They've definitely like stepped up the visual impact on some of the areas. However, I have found like I don't know if it's just my PC, but in certain areas when I've been like moving about, I'm getting a lot of shuttering. So it's at a constant 60 frames per second, which the PC is locked at unless you're playing about with the ini files. But I've been getting, it's not all of the time, it's just every now and again when I'm in combat, I get a bit of shuttering, and I've noticed some like items popping in and out. Like, so I've had issues, and I know that people that have unlocked the frame rates to try and get it above 60, they've been having massive issues because of the way that the graphics engine is set up. So it's linked to VSync. And if it goes above 60 frames per second, it starts messing with all of the physics in the world. I
think I've heard of more issues being on PC than I have consoles, and I feel like this is more of a recurring theme nowadays. Like Batman Arkham Knight was also, it worked fine, it worked flawlessly on like PS4, but then like on PC we had, that was broken.
God, yeah, that how is that so broken?
They released it again, it was broken. And
so they've just given up now.
It just feels like, and I feel like it's related. It must be mostly related to just when you look at, whether you're part of the PC, master race or not. Most of the sales for games that are released are coming from, consoles. So they put most of their focus on that. And then when they want to port, they port it over to PC, they get like a small team to handle it because there's less profit for their company in that. There's less sales in that. And I'm sure that is a very big reason as to why we kind of see this a lot more.
Because I think it's the same with Bethesda, because they've always been a company that's been very much about PC games. But
their PC games have always had bugs in it, which is the annoying thing.
It's their engine. Like, they're using the Creation Engine again for this, which is like a customization of the Gamebryo engine. Nobody likes this engine. Nobody likes it.
It's because it's arse. It's liquid arse.
I'm used to it, so I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I'll take the Creation Engine.
That shouldn't be an excuse there. Oh, I'm used to it.
I would say, sorry, yeah, go on.
I was going to say that, like, you still talking about graphics stuff?
I was just going to say that one thing I do quite like about the graphics, which is kind of a debatable thing, and some people like it, some people don't. But that's just the fact that there's a bit more colour to the game. Like, there's still paint on cars, but it's rusted off, and I just feel like, as stupid as it may sound, it helps bring life to a game that has been completely destroyed of life. But it just, I don't know, it kind of just makes it a bit more. I don't know. I feel like if that actually, if there was actually like a nuclear fallout, it wouldn't just eradicate colour. Things would be rusted off completely, but there would still be traces of it about. And I feel like, to some degree, it's good to have that there.
I mean, there's some areas like where there's like birds on the ground, and it's quite cool, like just seeing them all fly off.
There's cats cleaning their arse.
Yeah, I know. I heard what I thought was a baby crying, and I was like, what the hell is that? And then I saw a cat lying on the floor, and I was like, cool. That's what that was.
So I quite like those little touches. So, like, generally I said I've enjoyed it. There's just the little things. And there's also, like,
Are you moving off graphics?
Yeah, if you still got...
Yeah, I just want to say that I think the art direction of the game is superb. Like, the way that the game's designed, the way that some of the areas are designed, like the USS Constitution is probably my favourite, if you've seen it. My favourite side quest so far. The way that everything just looks is really cohesive for me, and I like it. I like the way it looks.
I have to say, like, just sticking with it, just for a second more, like the glowing sea or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I first went into that, I was just like, wow, this is a completely different area to anything that we've seen in a Fallout game before, and I really like the contrast between that and the rest of it. So yeah, good art direction in it. This isn't a major spoiler. It's like a bit of a soft spoiler. So
By the way, Andy hasn't completed it, so you don't have to worry about him spoiling like the end.
Yeah, this is like right at the start. So there's one of the characters that you meet is sort of part robot, part human. Not part human. He's basically a robot that looks like a human.
Do you mean Nick?
Yeah, Nick. And like he can become one of your companions. Now, it turns out that the Brotherhood of Steel really hates synths. And there's like in some of the side quests they go on about how much they hate synths. However, you can take your companion into the Brotherhood of Steel, no one bats an eyelid.
I think that's because they don't like synths that pretend to be humans, but Nick isn't pretending to be a human. That's the impression that I got. You know, like the ones that are put in to replace people.
I'd say it just seems like they don't like him in general.
They do have more of a problem with the ones that are more human-like, because it's like they're trying to because they feel threatened that they're trying to sort of replace humans. There's no sort of distinction. And it's the fear of not being able to tell who's what, because if you go to certain places in the world, there's a lot of paranoia of like, oh, maybe they're a synth, maybe they're not. How do I know you're not a synth? How do I know you're not just like, you know, because there's even one encounter. There's like there's a funny bit like when you get like random encounters when you just walk past and there's like two people, and it's not like a quest. It's just a short thing like where you can make moral decisions. And there's this like one bit where there's like one guy's the synth, one guy's the real guy, and they're exactly the same people. And it's that classic thing.
Yeah.
Classic thing of shoot me. He's the synth. No, I'm not the synth. Shoot him. And it's like, well, which one do I shoot?
The thing is, it kind of it made a point of it turned to Nick, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know if it's a good idea taking me in here," and then nothing happens. You're like, what was the point of having that in the game?
Maybe it's because he's with you, and then they kind of because you've gathered some respect.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. It's just some of the odd little bits and pieces like that, and I don't particularly like the speech system either.
I quite like it. Like, I wasn't sure that I was going to like how it worked. But I quite like it. I think it still needs work, because multiple times I've had things where I've been like, okay, I'll say that, and then they'll say something completely different, not what I wanted to say at all.
There is actually a mod that allows you to see full dialogue, like, of what you're about to say. I saw it online about, like, there's options that you can display, this is what you're about to say, rather than like a 3-word sentence, just a 3-word preview.
I really wish I could remember like a certain thing. Like, I got to maximum relationship with Preston, and he was like, "Oh, I love you," and this is kind of a spoiler for the first like half an hour of the game. I had the option to say, I still love my husband, because I was playing my character like really good mum, really loved her husband, like carries their wedding rings around, carries the little holotape that you get from Codsworth at the beginning of the game, carries that stuff around. So I said that, and I thought that meant like, oh, I still love my husband, but we could give it a go. And apparently she just went, "No, I'm not ready for this. Sorry, can we just be friends?" And I was like, for fuck's sake. That's not what I wanted you to say at all. I have a funny story
where I was playing Fallout 4, and at the time I was like in a like a party chat thing on PS4 at the time with like one of my other friends, and he was playing Fallout at the same time, and we were kind of generally going through it at the same pace as we were around the same areas, so we both like knew. And there's a companion that you get, and she's called Piper, and she's like a reporter. So if you don't have enough charisma, is really important, obviously, especially for conversations. And if you don't if you try and do something and you haven't got good enough charisma, then it will fail. Which, if you're trying to flirt with Piper, you've built up a relationship with her. If you constantly try and flirt, she'll put you down and put you in the friend zone. Every single, I like you just as a friend. And you're like, and I was getting really frustrated and talking to my friend. I was like, my mission right now is I'm going to get all of my experience points when I level up are going towards charisma. And my biggest achievement in this game is I'm going to win her over, and I'm going to get out of that friend zone. And I got to maximum like 10 charisma because I flirted once, and then I wasn't smooth enough to pull it off to the rest of it. And I finally did it, and I was like, oh, not more than friends. And she's like, oh, well, now you mention it. I was like, yes, I stood up. I was like, I did it.
See, I'm not sure if I like the way that they've gotten rid of special.
They haven't gotten rid of special. They've gotten rid of little perky points.
So they've changed the whole system. Like, instead, before you built your character originally using the special system, and you were stuck with those stats throughout the whole game. But in this, they've gotten rid of that, and you can put extra points into all of your strength, perception. No, you can. When you level up, you can put an extra point. Say you've got like you're saying, you started off, I don't know, like 2 charisma. By the end of the game, you can level that up to 10, and that hasn't happened in any of the other Fallout games. And they've also gotten rid of the sort of individual.
They basically
big weapons, little weapons, or small weapons.
They've put all the skills into different perks now, basically.
And
which I like in a way, because I think it's really handy to just go, I want to be really good at lockpicking, rather than, I want to be good at lockpicking, but I have to level up like 3 times to be able to do the next lock up, because you need to have 50 points in lockpick to do this next thing.
Just on the topic of speech, one thing I do quite like, and I noticed this when I had one companion, and I was like swapping to the other companion, and it was I was with Piper. And then there's this other companion called Kate, and
I don't like Kate.
She, so I swapped to. I was talking like I was like, oh, talk to Kate. I was like, oh, I want to see what she's like as a companion. So I was like, oh, okay. How would you like to tag along for the ride? And then when you do that near 2 companions, they have a little conversation between them, and Piper and Kate have this really kind of like bitchy but flirty kind of thing. Like Kate flirts with Piper, so she was like. And she's Irish, and she's like, oh, maybe all 3 of us just have a threesome or something. And it's like, whoa, okay. But it's like little things like that between all of them. Like you said with Nick, like if you're with Piper or you're with one of the others, they'll have this little back and forth if you're close enough when you like swap to a new companion. They'll have a few little bits of, and also sometimes when you're actually talking in a quest or something, you're talking to someone, sometimes the companion will interject with a little kind of comment, or like they'll say like one sentence of what they think. And that'd be quite interesting, because you could take anybody on your quest with you, and you might be like, oh, okay, well, they said that. I wonder what someone else would have said in that situation. So they have done some things in speech which I think are quite interesting and make you kind of go, and also sometimes depending on what the quest is, you go, oh, I might take this person with me because the other person would not like to see me do that, and they will not like it. And they, if they witness me doing that, they're going to hate me. And so you kind of, there's, I think they've done a good job with the relationship sort of system there, and sort of making all of the characters feel like they're, the fact they're talking to each other and talking to you all feels a bit all connected, and they feel a bit more,
I think the one question is, can you bang people in it?
No, you technically you can sleep.
You can technically, but you just can't see
hold
it.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. When you say bang, do you mean have sex?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I just wondered. I thought it was like a gaming term of like Fallout 4, like bang.
So,
right?
Like in The Witch, you can bang a load of people.
Yeah, you can. But
okay.
you kind of sleep next to if you sleep in a bed.
You sleep next to them fully clothed.
No, you go to a bed and you sleep with it in the bed. And if you sleep in the bed near enough to them, you get a lover's embrace perk. And there's a little thing at the bottom of the screen which shows you kind of waking up in bed and the other person lying in bed. And, you get like a bonus XP
you get
for
like
anything. So I just keep going, sleeping, and doing that. And then if you can like get maximum level relationship, you get a perk for each different companion. So at the moment I'm going around like each one. You can't romance, Codsworth or the dog, but apparently people are worried that you could have romanced the dog in a mod.
You can't romance any of the synths either. And I'm assuming if there's a super mutant, you will also not be able to romance him.
There's one you can romance, which is the, there's like, Miss Handy or something, or like there's a female version of Codsworth that you can actually romance. I don't know how that works, like you put your floppy disk in the hard drive, but, but yeah, no, I do like what they've done with that sort of, even though you can't bang, as Andy so eloquently put it, I think it is quite good, that.
I have one thing that I don't like about Fallout, and that's how they've pretty much removed bad karma from it in a way. Because what they've done is they've basically taken all the bad karma actions that you would do and put it into what your companions think about you. So there is really, honestly, no way to do a bad karma run that I can think of, apart from just pissing off everybody, apart from Kate, maybe.
But sorry, just going on that. I'm just trying to remember from the last one. If you had bad karma, that didn't really affect much, though, apart from everyone just hated you. If you went around killing everyone in the town, though, you wouldn't be able to trade or anything with them.
You could nuke Megaton, so... it's just, like, I was really excited because the voice actors beforehand had been like, oh, there's some karma stuff in the game. Like, I felt like a real evil bastard doing these lines and stuff, and I was like, I'm actually excited to do a bad karma playthrough because I've never done that before.
You can actually cut ties, when you get further down the story, you can massively cut ties with different factions, and to the point where you can never go there again, or you can just, just kill everybody.
What was that about you and the Brotherhood of Steel, Ebbie? What?
I probably shouldn't go there because,
I'll spoil it for you, Andy.
But I think, just on the topic of, like, the story, actually, without spoilers, I do think that the main story of this really did kind of grab my attention, and especially certain bits where I'm like, oh my god, like, I can't believe that's what's happened, or, like, you see certain people and you're like, what? What's going on? And just certain things happen in that story where it just shocks you. There's a lot of shock factor in certain bits of the game, and just like the whole plot of the main game kind of kept me on. Like, I want to find out what happens next. And when you start playing a bit more of the story, it's hard to kind of go back and do the side stuff because you kind of want to get to the bottom of what's going on. At least I found that.
See, now I'm just going to go back to the beginning again. Like, I feel like they spilled all of the start of it, because remember when you first heard about the game, you're like, you're the lone survivor of the vault.
The sole survivor.
Sorry, the sole survivor of the vault, and it's like, well, that means everyone else is going to die then. So when they started getting you to design your wife and like, your kid will take some of the features from both of them, it's like, I didn't really give a shit about the wife because I knew she was going to die. Because you're the lone survivor.
But I did quite like, even though, because I didn't know how it was going to happen, I guess, I did quite like witnessing, like, just how that stuff happened and just how they set up the main story. I was like, okay, to start with, it felt a lot like the Fallout 3 of, like, you're trying to find this person. You just missed them. That kind of thing. But, like, it did feel, but then it changes after a while, and then it kind of goes on its own thing. It does for the first beginning bit. You're like, hang on, this feels really similar. But then you get to a certain point.
Still in that area.
I sort of made myself more attached to the story in a way, because how I played it was as I think my mum might have played it, in a way. So, what I mean by that is, as soon as I got out of the vault, I was like, okay, I'm going to start building this settlement up, because I want to bring baby Sean back here, he can like grow up here and it'll be really cool. And then when I started exploring, I'd see like toys on the ground and stuff, and I'd start picking up like toys for him to play with and stuff and taking them back, and he had like his own little like toy chest and stuff next to his crib.
Can I just say something really horrible? I sold his crib.
Oh, Matt.
Sorry. I needed the resources so I could build other stuff.
Oh, great. Sell the fucking baby's crib.
But I did something other as well, was when I...
You sold the fucking wedding rings, didn't you?
No. I kind of did something a bit more... okay, so obviously I was trying to get out of the friend zone with Piper. So when I finally...
Baby.
So when I finally... got out of the friend zone with Piper, after a little bit while, I looked at the time of days passed in the game. I thought, it's been about 156 days or something. That's long enough time. So I gave the wedding ring to Piper.
Who's Piper?
She's one of the companions.
Right,
so I basically, in the space of 156 days, got divorced and remarried.
Well, I mean, several years have passed since.
That is true. That is true. But in terms of
in terms of time that you've been aware of, it's only been 156 days since the end of the world. So.
But yeah.
I mean, I don't think.
I will say I've got to that point in the story where I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I want to do. I have to pick a faction, and I know I want to pick a faction, but I, at the same time, morally can't pick that faction.
Can I just say, I have, I saw on your Twitter, Ebbie, that you had the Brahmin on the roof situation. Did you manage to get it down?
No, it doesn't move.
Okay, so what you do is
I built stairs up there and tried to shove it off.
You jump towards it and with your body and you just push it, and then it'll keep pushing and pushing and it'll slide down. But there's another one where it will teleport inside one of the bedrooms and it will just be sitting on the bed and it'll look at you going, you're like, oh.
It's the room that I put all of my crafting tables in, so I can't get to any of my crafting tables when it's in there.
You could shoot it, but then Trash Can Carly, you can't really trade with her, and she can be quite handy to have there. And also sometimes I think I did try killing it, I saved the game and tried to kill it, and I missed shot and I shot Preston Garvey, and then everybody turned on me. I also did do another one where, there's that bitch, Marcy Long, the one who always has things where she's like, oh, you're lucky we let you stay here. It's like, this is my house. I lived here. I lived here before the apocalypse, right? And you're like, oh, we're lucky you let you stay here. It's like, this was where I own land here. And she also says things.
My mortgage was paid off 200 years ago.
She says things like, she says all these little sarky things to you. She'll say, I haven't got enough time for chit chat. And she'll say things like, oh, sorry, did I give you the impression that we're friends? Because we're not. So I was like, right, I've had enough of your lip. So I saved the game. Then I got the biggest weapon I had, which was a fat man. I stepped back. I nuked her. Then everybody else hated me. She still survived. I was like, this is ridiculous. She just lied on the ground like I've been hit by a nuke. I'm just going to sit here and contemplate what's just happened. So I was like, okay. And then loaded it back up. But yeah.
I was going to say one more thing about it that I can think of is the fact that they have pre-built stories for the characters as well. So if you're a male character, you were in the army and you were going to join back in the forces after, Sean had grown up a bit or whatever. And if you're a female, you were a lawyer, and I built my character to be purely strength and another agility, I think. So I was a really stupid and charismatic lawyer.
Apparently, if you set the intelligence low enough, they just talk in responding grunts and noises until you build it up. I've heard that.
There is a perk as well that it's just
Idiot Savant.
Yeah, and you just get extra XP for being an idiot.
Yeah, every now and again you do really good, but by accident, yeah.
But yeah, and again for a role playing game, I don't know if I don't know if I like that about it. The fact that they've got a predetermined backstory, because it's not you just trying to make your own character, and the fact that it's all voice acted again. I don't know if that detracts a bit from the role playing aspect of it. It's less of a role playing game and more of a shooter with role playing elements. I think now.
I think the voices actually work surprisingly well, because I remember when they announced that it was going to be voiced, I was like, I don't know what I think about that. But I actually quite like it, but that could be purely down to the fact that I actually really like the voice actress, because she's got a very distinctive voice and it's quite good.
There's two things that I quite like about both this game and The Witcher 3, which is that I feel like they both do really good jobs with the side quests a lot of the time, making them interesting and branching off into their own thing. There's some ridiculous there's a lot of water cooler talk to be had about, I did this quest where there's one quest where there's a kid stuck in a fridge and you have to help him get out. There's one quest where you have to dress up like a sort of like a comic book hero and go around saving the day, and you can speak in a stupid voice I'll save you, stop, in the hand of justice, and all these stupid things. And there's just loads of different unique side quest things which are really quite fun to do. And then they can sometimes be a little side quest, and then it can branch out into sub quest type things. There's all different parts to it. And I found myself going, I want to kind of keep doing this and get to the bottom of what's going to be the ending point of this side quest. And so I feel like, you know, it's a good game that actually makes, you know, instead of going like, there are some quests where it's like, oh, fetch this, go back, okay, do it again. There are quite a few of them that you can do but they're more like XP grinders if you just want to keep leveling up your character. But there are quite a lot of, interesting ones. Like there's one where there's like to do with like witches and ghosts or something that I'm currently on. And something to do with the devil as well. But like I feel like such a variation of like just different things there that it's kind of fun to explore.
Mm-hmm. I really like it. It's not 10 out of 10, for sure, but I don't think I've ever played a 10 out of 10 game in my opinion, so.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. Like, it has like the odd problem here and there, but I can't think of like, I can't say I'm disappointed. Like, even though my expectations and my excitement weren't as high as, you know, a lot of people who have like played all the Fallout games, or they played so much, because I didn't really play too much of Fallout 3. I did play a fair amount. I probably played like 40 hours and that was it. But I played enough to know that I wanted to get Fallout 4. But, you know, I think the fact I played 126 hours goes to show that, you know, I'm obviously enjoying it, and I do, you know, I obviously like wanting to come back to the game and play it more and more. Otherwise, I would have just stopped by now. And I feel like there are little technical things, like so there's odd area where the frame rate can like drop quite a bit on like PS4 at least.
Fools anybody?
But it's not like it's not that noticeable, where it's not like a point where it can be noticeable, but it's not to the point where it kind of irritates you, or it's like, oh, this is unplayable. It'll be like a 5-second burst where it'll just drop tiny little bit. And there's only certain areas in the world that I get that, but for the most part, that's not really like an issue. And I've only experienced, I think, out of all the time I've played it, I've experienced like 5 tiny bugs, nothing game breaking. 5 tiny bugs, one being the floating Brahmin on the roof, one being it being inside the bedroom. One, I think all 5 of them have just been like characters that are where they shouldn't be.
I had one where the game was forced closing when I was trying to continue with the Unlikely Valentine quest. And I was like, I don't know how to fix this without spoiling the story for myself, because it's a story quest. So it's like, oh, I'll just try it one more time. And then it worked.
I know there's some issues with in the railroad HQ place, in terms of like, at least on consoles, that some people have had the game like bug out there and stuff. Something to do with underground, I don't know.
So I've noticed some janky AI where like people are trying to run into some scenery instead of trying to attack me, and I'm like, well, I'm just shooting you in the face. And there's some like turrets as well, which are like, you're just pointing at me, not bothering to fire, and I was managing to destroy them. So
my favourite thing,
it's got its bugs.
My favourite thing is like the pathfinding of the AI when you're in a conversation with someone, and they'll just like continue to walk into you and then drag you further and further away.
Have you seen the ones where they walk off and you're like, yeah, so
yeah.
Bye then? And it's like, yeah, there is some odd things there. But can we just mention that what I say the biggest improvement they've made is the gunplay outside of VATS, because in Fallout 3 it was terrible. Mm-hmm. And in this, wasn't it like someone who worked on Destiny came over or something to...
Yeah, they got someone from Destiny.
And I can kind of tell, because you can play most of the game not in VATS if you don't want to. You can use VATS. But I found a lot of the time not using it, because especially if I know I'm good enough to get a headshot on that character, if I do it in VATS and I'm really close, it's like, you have a 70% chance of shooting this, and you're like right by him, and you miss, and you're like, what?
I don't even get that. I get like 50.
And I'm like, I could have shot that guy, and then, been done with it.
I have the problem sometimes where I can't really select exactly where I want to go, like where I want to shoot in VATS sometimes. Like, I'll be like trying to move it across, and it'll be like, okay, we're going from left arm to right arm to left leg to right leg to torso to head, and I'll be like, but I wanted the head, and there's no way that I can immediately go to the place that I want to shoot without cycling through everything else first, and they're moving towards me, and I'm like, you need to stop.
But yeah, I think, what overall, just Fallout 4, do you think, good game, amazing game, disappointment, what is it?
Well, considering how high my hopes were for it, I should be the one who has the most chance of disappointment, I guess. But I was really pleased with it so far. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm really pleased with how it's going. I really like the character that I've built, and I'm looking forward to playing more. It's a good game. Very good game.
I think I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I really love like the main story, especially after getting to a certain point in it. And I think some of the stuff that you've already played through, Ebbie, like some of those shock factor things are really... And there's lots of hints to things early on, and it's just like...
I want to type something to you in a separate chat, just being like, oh my god.
I just really enjoyed that main story. I think that's the most... In terms of main story, that's the most enjoyable I've had from the RPGs that I've played. I can't think of one where I've been that switched on and cared that much, for me. And just like I said, because of like the side stuff's kept really interesting, you know, I've really enjoyed the game, and there's a reason why I've put so many hours into it. It's because I just keep coming back wanting to play more. But,
yeah, it's a very, very good game.
But Andy, disappointment, okay, good.
I'll put it in the good category.
What?
Okay.
What?
What? It's got its issues. I'm not going to lie, and I've said that.
Every time I've talked to you, you've been like, "Oh, this sucks. I don't like this. I don't like this.
But
I don't really like this either." And I'm like, "Can you just say something good about it?" And you're like, "No, I hate everything about it."
No, I've not said that. Like, it's got a lot of issues, especially on high-end PCs, but. I've enjoyed what I played of it when you get around the issues.
So,
and you're only in for more good times ahead because the story gets better, in my opinion. So,
to the point where Ebbie wants to ask me about something about it or send me something about it.
Doing it.
What other games? I think because Steve hasn't, Steve has literally played 10 minutes of it. And he kept asking, I just want to say, just before we move on from Fallout, that he kept asking me about, like, I'm getting Fallout 4. Everyone seems to be playing it, like, everyone thinks it's amazing, like, there's loads of hype for it, I'm gonna get it. And then he's like, I might not get it, I'm not sure. And he's like, Matt, should I get it? And I'm like, I've only played like an hour, I'm not too sure. And then when I played more, I was like, I don't know whether to recommend it. And I was like, there's certain things that, I was like, Steve, you'll love the game. You'll love the gunplay because you would have hated it in Fallout 3, but you would really like it in this. And I was like, there's certain aspects from like, gathering loot that he would have liked from Borderlands, but I was like, I don't know what you'll think of like the Pit-Boy and the micromanagement and all the quest type stuff, because Steve isn't really, the guy who plays a lot of RPGs, if any, really. And so I was like, I wasn't sure, but he played 10 minutes of it, and, which is kind of hard. If you play 10 minutes, it's very, very hard to kind of have any sort of opinion.
I just want to say that I was around my friends. He's got quite far, and I played about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. I can't really remember how long I played, but from what I saw and what I played, it wasn't my cup of tea. I'm not saying I hate the game, not saying I dislike the game, just saying it wasn't my cup of tea. RPGs, like Matt said, doesn't really fall into my category of gaming.
Although on that topic, perfect segue. I've been helping Steve the last, a few weeks, expand his gaming palette of trying out different games. He's tried out sort of hack and slash dungeon crawler type games. He's played like sort of his first proper open world game other than GTA, which was Just Cause 3. Which I guess, we should give Steve a chance to talk about that a bit, because he hasn't been able to talk about anything for the last 30 minutes or whatever.
Can I be right back while you talk about
it? Yeah, sure.
Dungeon crawlers though, is it called Dungeon Crawlers?
No, it's, I was just saying it is a dungeon crawler. Well, Gauntlet I was talking about.
Oh, Gauntlet. Yeah, Gauntlet I really, really love. Like, that's an RPG, isn't it?
It's not an RPG. It's basically like, it's a bit like a co-op. It's like Diablo, and Baldur's Gate. They're sort of like, you're going through different floors, and it's like a roguelike game. You go through there's an endless mode where you go through floors and you're killing enemies, and you have like wizard, mage, the same thing, wizard, warrior, elf, necromancer, like all these different classes, and it's up to 4-player co-op. It's actually the reason why Steve started playing it and I started playing it, and we actually, like, between me, Steve, and some of my friends, we did a 4-player co-op. And you can do not split screen, you can do local co-op as well, because it's that kind of game where it follows the players, and they also have to be in the same area of the screen. But, it's the PS Plus game for December, So if you have PS Plus, you can download it right now. And, you definitely should. But yeah, I'll let Steve just, say what he thinks about it.
What, Gauntlet?
Yeah.
I was a little bit skeptical. It's free, so obviously I downloaded it.
Do we want this free game?
I was a little bit skeptical of playing it. So Matt got me into it, and I played the first 10 minutes. I thought, nah, this isn't really for me. And I thought I'd give it another half an hour. I started playing, and I'm really into it now. It's really addictive. Like, I really want to get on and play some more. It's like, I really do. And I've really have fallen in love with that game.
What's so addicting about it? Like...
It's more addictive for me because you have to work as a team to be able to, like, get gold, to be able to advance to the next levels. You get a thing called the death, is it, Matt?
Yeah, so there's if you do, there's a story mode where you go through different dungeons. It goes from one to the next, where you have to make it to the end of that level. But there's also like an endless mode where it goes up to 50 floors, and you just keep going through and through and through. That requires teamwork. But the one that requires a teamwork the most, which we haven't done with Steve yet, we did it with 3 players, which is Colosseum. And basically, there's 6 waves, and they're ridiculously hard. And it's just in this one area. If you complete it, you get a limited edition cape for your character, and it works in seasons. So it's on the 5th season at the moment. If you can't complete the Colosseum level by the time that season ends, you can never get that cape again.
Okay,
but you have to. Yeah, there's like the hardest class to use is the mage, and I use it, and I've learned there's all the other characters have like, I don't know, 4 or 5 different weapon attacks. Usually like 4 or 5. The mage has like 13 or 14, and it's because you have to be like, I'll switch this spell. So you have like combinations like triangle and circle to switch to a spell, or triangle, square, triangle, square, like all these different ones, and you have to like implant them in your mind. And I've sort of, you all work together, so it works. All of the different classes complement each other. So when I was playing with Steve, there would be like, I could make like a force field shield that protected all of us, and then he could use one of his attacks from a distance to take down like summoning towers which spawn enemies and stuff like that.
So is the mage like Magicka, like the playing that? It's kind of sounds like it almost.
So you basically have you go around getting more and more gold. But gold isn't shared, so there's obviously a lot of arguments about gold.
Oh, yeah.
And it will say at the end of like a stage or like level, who's the greediest hero, to point out. And you use this gold to like buy, like for the mage, you can buy more spell books which have different spells. So that's your weapon. It's like a book, and you can have different things. But you do like triangle to do like a ice beam attack. You can do like triangle square, which like teleports you. Like you can like move really fast, like dashing, zigzagging in and out. And there's cooldowns for different things. But yeah, it's like, I would say it's probably the second best PS Plus game of the year. Probably. With
Wow.
being the top one. But yeah, Steve, do you want to talk about your experience of having all the gold stolen as well?
Oh, yeah. So my very first time of playing Gauntlet, we were playing with 2 other players, and obviously with Matt as well. And I was dying a lot, and every time I died, I'd have my gold stolen. And every level I went through, apart from the last one I played, I was going through about 1,000 gold each time. And you need to get gold to be able to buy different things to level your character up. I think that's right.
You have like relics and talismans, and like, so a talisman is an attack you can do if you pick up these potions. And then relics are like, they have a cooldown, but they're kind of like your ultimate in like a MOBA or something, like your main skill that's like the most strongest one.
And you need these things you need the gold to be able to buy this. And I was going through every level with about 1,000 gold, and I really wasn't cutting the mark. So everyone was trying to help me out. And eventually I got to my last time, I got 25,000 gold.
Most of us are trying to help you out, but there was a certain greedy character.
Oh yes, very greedy. Went through about 60,000 gold.
Yeah, but like, it was like, we started making our own rules. Like, right, if you pick somebody else's gold up, then you have to, on the next level, buy this thing called a skull coin. And so you can respawn if you die, but you have to have these things called skull coins, and they're shared between all of the 4 players. So if one of you dies, you can use one of them up, but that means it's a live loss for everyone else as well, like a respawn. And you can gain them by killing enemies or destroying these summoning towers that just keep respawning enemies till you destroy them. And you can also buy them, and it costs like 2,500 gold. So if you pick up somebody else's gold, it's usually around that amount, but it just takes a percentage off that you can pick up. So we were like, right, people need to stop picking up other people's gold because that's a real dick move. So we're like, if you pick someone else's gold up, accident or not, you have to buy a skull coin, like a respawn token type thing, the next level. And it works surprisingly well because people just try and stay away from it.
My last time I went through with around about 25,000 gold when everyone was trying to help me out, which was good. But it's quite, well, for me, I found it was quite a hard game to get into, but because I've always been in with FPS and races and things like that, and trying to go to those style of games, which, Matt's kind of broke the mold with me, which it's going well at the moment.
Maybe you should try, and he's like his little, maybe we should try this out, if it's food, try this dish out, what do you think of that?
Quite nice.
Trying to get him to try it, yeah. I was quite surprised that he liked it, actually.
Yeah, I actually do like it.
Other than Gauntlet, though, it's Just Cause 3.
Oh my god, Just Cause 3.
Why are we talking about it? Just cause.
Just because we're talking about
it. Just look at Andy. That joke's been done to death. Anyway, Steve, what do you think about Just Cause 3?
Just Cause 3.
Compared to first impressions as well.
Okay. First impressions when I started playing, I was really, really confused at what I had to do. I was going around to islands and thinking, what do I liberate? I can only find army bases. I was liberating army bases, which is fucking hard, by the way. I liberated army bases, and then I said to Matt, where's the settlements that you can liberate? But the settlements are hidden. Obviously, you have to locate them, and you have to liberate them. So that was my first impressions. Playing the game now, I've really got into it, and I've got used to how you do things and the challenges and stuff like that.
How long are you into it now?
I've played, I think, in total, around about 56 hours in total.
Okay. No, that can't be right.
I can't remember.
Because I've only played 30 hours and I've got more.
Okay, I can't remember how many hours I've played.
Okay.
I did look, but I can't remember now exactly. But I've played quite a lot. But playing it for the amount of time that I played it for, because I got it 4 days after the game, and 2 days after the game had come out, and I've been playing it ever since then. But got used to it. I really do love the game. I love the mechanics of the game. I love that you can use your kind of tethers to, shoot 10 foot across the map. And my PlayStation can't keep up with the amount that I'm, kind of scanning across the map. I like the fact that you can tether yourself to a helicopter and then smash into another helicopter. So you tether the two together. I love the fact that you can tether, rebels and you can smash them into each other. And then you can tether 4 tethers onto them and make them do funny kind of things and make them, fly around the map if you want to.
It's kind of one of those games that, it's just I don't want to play a game that, it's like if you're going, I'm really just worn out. I just want to sit back, relax, just to blow some things up and just have some destruction, some sort of straightforward, simple fun. Then that's the kind of, if you like looking at Fallout 4 and at Just Cause 3, you're like, Fallout's going to require me to kind of, not in an insulting way, but think a bit more, and sort of be a bit more switched on and kind of be up and, paying attention to what I'm doing. Just Cause 3 is like one of those games where it's like, I've come back home from a, stressful day at work. I'm just going to blow off some steam. I'm going to blow some buildings up. I'm going to attach some helicopters to, cars, and it's just like a load of destructive fun, really. You have this, grapple hook thing, but, you can attach tethers, say you've got, 3 helicopters flying towards you, and you're trying to take over a military base. Basically, there's a dictator who's ruling the island of Medici. And the dictator is actually voiced by David Tennant, interestingly enough.
Okay.
But you wouldn't be able to tell.
Scottish David Tennant?
No,
or?
It's you wouldn't even be able to tell it's David Tennant. It doesn't sound anything, I can't imagine him say it with that voice.
It's
really, yeah, unlike any voice I've ever heard from him. But, it's I do have one negative thing to say about it. It is a load of fun. It's the wingsuit is just as fun as just as addictive and as fun as I thought it'd be from when I played at EGX, and I'm just flying around for ages. There's some good things. The best thing about it is you have these leaderboards that update in real time, and it'll show you locally, between your friends, if you're doing something, it will keep tallying up your score until you stop doing that specific thing you're trying to get a leader, beat your score in. And then, in real time, it will just overtake your friends if you beat them. So there's a lot of competitiveness going, especially between me and Steve of like quite a few of my friends really of like, oh, I've got the best record for this. And it's like, oh, I'm going to beat you. And you can call out players and be like, try and beat my score in this. And if you do it, you actually get a trophy, on like PS4. So there's quite a lot of fun there, but it does get, after a while, you're liberating these bases and you're doing, the way you liberate them is very similar. Like you have to destroy a certain number of speakers, destroy billboards, all propaganda. And then you can do loads of the challenges in there. And there's things like, you have to get a certain time driving a sports car around a circuit, or you have to use your wingsuit and fly through hoops, like under tunnels and around the map within a certain amount of time. And, you have to like get within the hoops. But after you do the challenges and you're liberating the military bases, there's kind of not much else to it other than that. Like there's the main story missions, which are kind of like, oh, go and take out this tank or recover these things, or, and there's a bit of story to it, which the story is okay. Like it's, there's some backstabbers that you think are your friends. There's some funny moments. There's some good cutscenes in there. But it sort of begins and ends with that you've got this main story, you're liberating bases and you can do the challenges in there. But then it's like, okay, I've done 50 challenges out of like, because in order to do the challenges, you have to like liberate that area in the map. And there's these 3 different regions and then like small provinces within that. And it suffers from repetition after a while of like, okay, I've done this so many times and I've done loads of these challenges. What do I do next? And I feel like that's when the multiplayer, like having multiplayer, this game doesn't have multiplayer, but if this game did have multiplayer, then that could add a lot of replayability of just the stuff you could do with friends. But
see, what I've heard about it is, you have to find your own fun in it. Like a lot of the time.
Yeah, it is like that. I've got one negative thing I want to say. I don't know if you found this, Matt, but some bases I am liberating, if you die when you're liberating our base, I come back and what I've blown up and what I've done, because you get a percentage that you've done, so you've destroyed 81% of the base.
Yeah.
Well, when I die and I come back, the base has actually been rebuilt and I have to liberate that over again. That
must be a bug then, because every time that I've died, what it's meant to do is everything you've destroyed stays destroyed. So if you've taken out half of, like, there's some like military bases like airstrikes and helicopters and EMP cannons and stuff that are really heavily guarded. If you destroy like 50%, if you die, it should keep that stuff destroyed.
Okay, it must be a bug that I must find in them.
So, like, if you destroy, like, can you just completely flatten the map, or does it rebuild parts of it after?
There's only so much that can be destructed. Like, you can't blow up every single building. You can't.
Right.
There's like certain things that can be destroyed and some things that can't. Like you can blow up a watchtower and it will crumble to the ground. You can blow up bridges, and there's like a bit of, for people who've played like Red Faction Guerrilla, where you could like set up C4 charges on a building and it would kind of crumble based on the structure of where you've blown it up. It'll do a lot of that. But then there's certain things like the actual towns where there's solid buildings. It's a bit odd because you'll shoot like an RPG in it and it won't blow up, but then other things will. And you're like, okay, that's a bit weird and inconsistent.
Battlefield has that though. They have the Destruction 2.0 where you can flatten buildings completely.
I was just about to say, is it like the Battlefield?
Stuff? Some parts are, but if you, like Matt said, if you shoot an RPG at a wall, you'd think it would go through it, but it doesn't.
Yeah. There are some like structures in like military base, like watchtowers, where if you blow them up, all the sort of stone will crumble down if you.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say though is the explosions in Just Cause 3 is enormous. Like,
yeah, you can do some massive.
I got shot about 10 foot across the map when I blew these barrels up, and there were so many barrels. I got blew up, and it just sent me 10 foot across, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, it is like you said, Andy. Like you have to, if it kind of the game just you'll load up the game, and I'll be like, okay, you can go do this main story mission, or you can go do some challenges, or you can liberate some bases, and it's like, or you can just mess around. But it's like it doesn't tell you. The challenges will tell you, you might need to, there's some destruction challenges where it's, you have to destroy a certain amount of things, make things blow up and get a certain score for that. Or there's, like racing based ones. So there are the challenges are very organized kind of fun. But then outside of that, it's like how you one person might decide I could have fun flying around with a wingsuit, just seeing how long I can do it for. And because there's leaderboards for literally everything, like how far you've travelled as a ragdoll, how far you've done a wheelie for, how long you've flown in a wingsuit without touching the ground. There's loads of different leaderboard things. And so it relies on you to be able to create your own fun, and it kind of stops with your own creativity and imagination of like, it won't tell you how to approach a military base. It will just say, destroy these things. How you do that is up to you. So you could go, oh, there's some helicopters flying over to try and stop me from taking this base over. One person could go, oh, I'm just going to launch an RPG at it and blow it up. But then another time you might go, I'm going to try and attach that helicopter to another helicopter to another helicopter to another helicopter, reel all the tethers in and watch them all spin around and then clash together and blow up. So, it kind of gives you all the tools of destruction basically, and goes, see what you can do with this and how long it will keep you entertained for. And then sometimes if you run out of ideas, it's like, well, can't they, if you want the game to sort of point in direction, maybe you should try this or some pointers. It won't do that. It's all purely down to you for the most part.
One thing I will say as well, because I know Matt hasn't experienced this, but I have. If you've got medium or bad internet, the loading times for when you're getting into a game or if you die are horrendous. Because my internet's medium, my loading time for after I died was 7 minutes waiting to get back into the game.
Yeah, there's it's usually like when you die, it can be like 2 to 3 minutes if your internet's not that great, because if you try it in offline mode, it loads twice as fast.
Oh, it loaded within about 10 seconds offline.
That's the same type of thing that Metal Gear 5 stuff was. If you're online, sometimes if you went into the options menu, it would take ages to do anything.
It took me 7 minutes because I timed it on my phone.
It's all to do with the fact these leaderboards update in real time. Right. Because it's kind of like constantly upgrading your score and then switching over all the people as and when you're doing it in real time, rather than waiting for you to finish the score. It's actually having you overtake people as you're doing it. I think must be some strain on the servers there, or just the servers aren't very good. I don't know, but it seems like I haven't experienced it personally. The longest load time I've had is probably like 30 seconds, and then I know other people that have been waiting for like minutes and minutes, minute after minute, and I'm like, it's really weird. I haven't got that. But then they try it in offline mode, and it's like, wow, that was like 10-second load. So
yeah, it did it to me in 10 seconds.
It has. Lots of people have been complaining about it, and it must be the servers or something. I wouldn't like. I'd say it's a good game, but it's not like amazing. I'd say that it's a fun game to be had to blow off some steam for a couple of hours, especially if you're just like a casual gamer and you've only got like an hour after work or something. You just want to blow some, you just want to blow off some steam. This game is probably perfect for you because you can just jump in, destroy some buildings, and then just play around a bit and then go, okay, I've had my fun for today. But as somebody, if you're like a hardcore gamer and you like to put 16 hours a day into a game and then do that tomorrow and then do all those strategies, it's probably,
it will get repetitive.
Yeah, it's like there's not a whole lot of depth there. Like, it's a cool concept and there's some quite fun things with the challenges and all that, but the depth is sort of lacking there, really. Yeah.
I am interested in hearing about Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Oh, so you haven't got it, Andy? You haven't got it?
No.
Oh, is there any reason for that?
Any reason why I haven't got it?
Yeah.
Because it hasn't arrived.
Oh.
I got my copy right on release day, which is unlike Nintendo because they usually send it out so you get it a day or two before release. This one I got on release day. I just want to read you out the cover to explain what the game's about. So this is where we build our future. Exploration, combat, skills.
Skills.
That's all it says. It just says it in a bunch of different languages.
It's really descriptive, that.
Great.
Yeah, I don't know if just that's it.
Oh. But
it's the worst game cover ever.
I haven't actually. I do plan on picking it up. I haven't yet. I was going to get it today,
okay,
but I didn't. yeah, thoughts, because, let's make sure I'm making a good purchase here.
Xenoblade is known for its very good tutorials. What are they like, Ebbie?
I want to start from the beginning.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of the original Xenoblade Chronicles. I played it on the 3DS this year, and it's probably one of the games that has gotten closest to a 10 out of 10, because I think it's a very, very good JRPG. And I like JRPGs, so obviously, me picking up Xenoblade Chronicles X was a no-brainer, because I like Xenoblade Chronicles. Why wouldn't I get the sequel, why wouldn't I get Fallout 4 on release day? Because it's Fallout 3 sequel, obviously. But I think I made a mistake in assuming that Xenoblade Chronicles X was going to be Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Because it's, as far as I know so far, got absolutely nothing at all to do with Xenoblade Chronicles. It's entirely different in its mechanics, in its characters. The only reference I've seen to Xenoblade Chronicles is a girl who has a Monado for a hair clip.
Really?
Yeah.
Because there are, it's like set in the same universe, but
that's
not.
It could be in an entirely different place and have no references to. I have a theory that it's set on the same planet, but that's just a theory because some of the things look very much like the Bionis and the Mechonis. So I'm like, maybe it's set in the same place. I don't know.
So does that affect your actual Does that negatively affect your impressions of the game, or?
Teeny little bit, because it was reviewing really well, but at the same time I think none of these people who are reviewing this one have played Xenoblade Chronicles. None of them have. I'm positive of it.
It's got like an 85 on Metacritic or something, I think.
It's reviewing really, really well. But I feel like it's taken 3 steps forward, and at the same time taken 2 steps back. Because a lot of the things are improved, like you've got ranged weapons, which is amazing. Instead of just having a sword, so you have like guns and stuff, and the world is really amazing. Like, it looks amazing. I saw someone today who was like, it looks like a PS2 game, and I'm like, I don't know, PS2s look like that. I'm impressed.
And then people were saying that when it got announced at E3, they were like, oh, what's this PS2 game we're releasing? I thought that console's like 10 years old.
Xenoblade Chronicles, that looked like arse. That was
a Wii game that was originally ported to the 3DS, and they basically did nothing to clean it up apart from like make it 3D, I guess. And 3D looked terrible on it.
From what I've seen of X and E3, not E3, Eurogamer, I'm impressed with how it looked compared to the original.
I hate saying this. I'm 14 hours in, and I don't feel like I've scratched the surface of the game. I've not even done chapter 5 of the story yet, and I'm 14 hours in. Because it does this thing where the first 3 chapters are very linear, so you know what you're doing, you have very clear-cut goals, and then all of a sudden it goes, right, it's an open-world game, you can go wherever you want, and I'm like...
But where?
But I want to do quests, because there's no point in me just exploring for the hell of it. But the most frustrating thing that I found about this game so far is to get to mission 4, you have to do 2 quests, which are not on your map, so you have to just talk to people to find them. And you have to explore 15% of the, landmass that you start in. But it took me 4 hours to figure out what exploration actually meant.
It feels like this one's like the perfect game to have a strategy guide for.
Yeah, I would probably fucking love this game if it came with a guide, or I could for it. But the only guides that are available for this game are in Japanese.
I'm going to hate this, aren't I? Probably. Because the major thing I disliked about Xenoblade Chronicles was the side quests. I didn't like any of them.
You have to do the side quests.
Is it because they're repetitive? Or
they just didn't seem interesting at all.
Like MMO quests where it's like, you
need to go and get 3 monkey asses and bring them back.
The way that Xenoblade Chronicles, the original, it was very much like a single player MMO. if you can imagine, like, the big MMO-esque worlds and the side quests and the collection quests that come with that and the monster hunting quest, it was all of that in a single-player game. And I just used to pick up all these side quests so that whenever I accidentally finish one, I'd get experience for no reason. It was very rare that I would go out and be like, okay, I have to kill 3 of these hoxes. I've got to find soft hoxes. And they're a rare spawn, so I might be able to do this if I go to this place at night. And, like, it was a very, very complicated and convoluted game. But I still really liked it. But this one completely failed for me in the first few hours, because I was just like, I don't know how to explore this map. I don't know what exploring the map means to you. What does it mean? How do I do this? And you have to go and install these, like, data probes, and then you can install different probes to be, like, mining probes, and then you can earn money from having mining probes, but sometimes you don't need mining probes there.
This game terrifies me in the thought of playing it, because, you know, I play a lot of, like, open world RPGs, and, like, sometimes, you know, some of them can be quite complex, and, like, in terms of understanding of, like, what you can do, you know, how do you do it, and like what to do next. But Xenoblade Chronicles X sounds like on another level of that. It just seems like I can't even imagine. I'd love to see Steve playing this, and just like have let's just have a video series on the channel of just Steve trying to play this game. Just being like, what is this?
My mind at the minute, with Ebbie just explained all this stuff, my mind is fizzing. It's like, what? I'd be up to that challenge.
It's probably one of the most complicated games I've played, just because the tutorials they don't exist, basically. Pretend that there's a tutorial
and
there,
because... thought that Fallout was bad.
So I opened the manual, you know, because this doesn't actually come with a manual, it comes with the, like, here's your stuff. So I opened the, like, digital manual that it comes with, and it was, like, 45 pages long. It was a very, very big manual.
Is that only on Wii U?
It is a Wii U exclusive.
Okay, so in order for us to put a game series out, I'd have to come to Matt's to play it. I'd have to drive 200 miles to get to Matt just to put a series out.
It'd be worth it, you know.
It would be worth it. The replayability of that video would be amazing.
Because Xenoblade Chronicles, again, the tutorials just like, it popped up with like a page of data. And then you had to read that, and then you get, oh, no.
It sounds like the most...
Those things that they haven't changed.
It sounds like the most JRPG out there. In the fact
it's
that,
very JRPG.
As someone from the West, you're like, I do not understand at all. What the hell, Japan? What are you talking about? I don't understand what I'm meant to be doing.
So, I've nearly completed Xenoblade Chronicles, and I'm like, I think it's 2 boss fights from the end, or like really close. And I still don't understand.
You're in the Bionis, aren't you? So you're like...
I'm in Bionis Interior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have that boss, an area to explore, and then 2 more bosses and you're finished.
Okay. But I still don't understand half the mechanics in that game.
So you have to explore a certain amount of areas before you can progress with...
So, the way that I figured it out is that... So here's where I'm going to try and explain it to you. The thing that you have to do is install these probes. Alright, simple enough. So you find these big beams of light, you go up to them and you hammer A, and that's it. That's all you have to do. But sometimes they will be more complicated, so you will have to have a higher mechanical level to install one. And the way that you get that is by leveling up your blade rank, which is like the in-game faction, I guess, and going to talk to a character that is just a character in the world. You might never see them, who knows, to then level up either archaeological, biological, or mechanical. So there's like different... They're not even skill trees, it's just a skill that you can level up. And I started leveling up like archaeological and biological and stuff, so I could do things, but I needed to have my mechanical up higher to install some of these probes that would allow me to explore the map more. And I hated it.
My brain. My poor brain.
But
I can't wait to get this game now.
I am only 14 hours in, and that's not much if you think about it in JRPG terms, I guess, because I played Xenoblade Chronicles to finish my first save file for 100 hours, which, isn't that much, but I didn't do a lot of the, side quests, I didn't do a lot of grinding, I just played the game and it was about 100 hours.
I'm 75 hours and I haven't done a single side quest in the original, and I haven't finished it yet, or in Xenoblade Chronicles.
But so
you'll probably finish it in maybe 80, 85 hours.
A lot of these side quests, they're just MMO based. They can, in terms of here's a really elaborate long paragraph of text and loads. They're telling me loads of information just so I can gather 3 things for them and bring them back.
Kind of. They don't tell you as much information as MMOs.
That's what I hate about MMOs, where it's I'm reading 2 pages of text just so that I can get this guy 4 oxtails or whatever and bring them back to him. It's oh, my wife, she liked oxtails when she was here. Oh, I don't care, just come on.
Do you know what? I really think this would be a really good video game series if I was to come around. I think I'd blow Matt's brain.
This would be 2 idiots playtime.
The one thing that I did really like about Xenoblade Chronicles was the story, and that's why I managed to eke my way through all of those hours. How's it shaping up so far, story-wise? I know you're barely anywhere, but
here's my problem.
All I've heard is problem after problem.
With Xenoblade Chronicles, you had a very clear-cut character, which was Shulk. Shulk was a likable, everyday guy, sort of. Oh, I can imagine being friends with him because he's smart and he's kind, and you can imagine just hanging out with him. And then you had all these really memorable side characters like Rhine and Fiora and...
I really need a shower.
I could really use a shower. It's Rhine time! But you had a really memorable cast. And you could play as any one of those characters if you didn't like Shulk. So you could switch to playing as Melia, or you could be Dunban if you wanted to be. It doesn't really matter. You could play as whoever the hell you wanted. With Xenoblade Chronicles X, you create your own character, so all of the motivation that was in Shulk immediately isn't present in this character that I've created.
Seems like the biggest problem with character creation games is that, trying to have meaningful characters, because it's hard for your own characters to sort of connect on some level or have a backstory, because you have to if you've made this custom character, if they made something for that character, it might not fit in, or it might,
So, if we compare it to Fallout, where you've got this, kind of defined character, but very loosely, so, lawyer, had a family before the war. With Xenoblade Chronicles, your character has amnesia, so they don't know anything. There is nothing.
That explains, right? They forgot to include tutorials because they have amnesia.
Surely that would be an even more incentive reason to put in tutorials in, because we need to learn how to do this, so let's do a tutorial thing.
It would have been a clever way to do it, this is how I don't even think I've heard anything about the battle palette across the bottom of the screen. None of that's been explained, and the only reason I know about it is because I played Xenoblade Chronicles. Break attacks aren't called break attacks anymore, and that's confusing the hell out of me. Because usually you would use a break attack in order to topple an enemy so that they would fall over and you could do more damage to them. But now they're called stagger attacks.
Okay.
It has this cool thing where if you listen to what your teammates are saying, they'll say, give me some cover fire. And the, the ranged attacks will start glowing on the bottom. So if you do one of those attacks, they do more damage, or they'll say, move in to do melee attacks for more damage or whatever, and you'll do more damage if you do melee attacks. So it's cool that you have to listen to your teammates in that way. But I don't want to play as my character. I want to play as, someone else, because I want to be able to... Because that was one thing I didn't do with Xenoblade Chronicles, was I played as Shulk most of the time. I think I switched to Melia for a boss fight. And then I was okay, I'm playing as Shulk again. And I was in the next game, I'll change it around a bit. Can't do it. So...
I kind of did the same. I found that I actually quite liked the way that Shulk handled, and I tried a few of the other characters, and didn't particularly get on well with them. I think at the point where I am at the moment, I have to play as Melia, because Shulk can't damage anything.
She does ether attacks, and Shulk doesn't. So you need ether attacks for that.
I really want to see Steve play this game. I'm just putting
it'd be so good.
If you have
as
any
a
more
video game series.
questions. If you have any more questions,
I can't wait to get this tomorrow then.
I will say, it is a good game. It's just not very clear-cut in its direction. It has multiplayer as well.
If you think of someone who's willing to put time aside to learn the ropes, do you think it's okay? If you've got a level of patience and tolerance to... I
think it will be very rewarding when I learn everything, but I don't think I'm there yet.
By the sounds of it, it kind of sounds like the depth that you're chucked in at Xenoblade Chronicles, and once I got used to that, I found that it was okay, and you knew what was happening, and then you knew the general gist of how to do everything to an extent. Is that the same?
Yeah, I'd say so, because I was like, what the hell are break attacks? How do I do use break attack? What is chain attack? Chain attack's on in this game, by the way.
Chain attacks.
I know.
It took me 75 hours to figure out how to continue the chain attacks on past the first round. That is how long it took me to...
Well, chain attacks aren't in it anymore, or if they are, I've never gotten them. I can't revive any of my allies when they're downed in battle. There's so many different things about it that I've not quite gotten my head around yet. But when I started learning about Xenoblade Chronicles and how that battle system worked, and how when you're level 70, you can quite easily beat one of the level 95 creatures that are roaming around the land and stuff, because you can topple lock them, which means they just consistently topple over and over and over again, so they can't get up, and you can just do massive damage. So when I started learning about that stuff, that was really, really, really interesting and really good. But I haven't gotten to that point with Xenoblade Chronicles X yet, because it's an entirely different game, and I should have never expected it to be like Xenoblade Chronicles. That's my fault. But you remember the demo that we did at EGX, where we just basically, they went, right, here's an open world. There you go. That's basically what I've been doing for the past 15 hours.
I remember though, after I played it.
Yours was bugged, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, they had 6 different employees trying to oh no, you can play, I was just playing in, just play around the open world, because the person progressed too far in the story and I couldn't,
And they accidentally saved it or something.
Basically, yeah. And it was
So you had no teammates with you, did you?
No, so I didn't have anybody, and so it was really difficult to kill anything. And then they were getting new save discs and everything, and it was such a... But I remember afterwards, and I was like, I actually really enjoyed that. And then Ebbie's face was like, really? She's the most shocked
I always get really surprised when people are like, oh, this is a really niche RPG. Quite like it. And I'm like...
Yeah.
What?
It's like if someone said to me, oh, I played Ni no Kuni all the way through and thought it was a very good game with very deep mechanics. I'd be like, you played Ni no Kuni?
Yeah, maybe that is, I guess if it is quite... there was a video game was saying about how... because they said that, in a review for Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, by the way, apparently not so great, even though we
when
kind of thought
when we played that game, we were like, yeah, this is fun.
It's fun. And
it is really fun.
And then I was like, oh, it's actually barely got any modes and it's a really shallow game. And yeah, it's kind of, not so great in terms of the reception it's received. But they were saying that was the big, last big game for Nintendo of this year. And everyone was like, oh, but what about Xenoblade? And it's like, that is,
it's
not
niche,
that it's not going to be their big game, because a big game for Nintendo is like Mario or Zelda or Mario and Sonic or something like that, and it's a very niche. I think it's
going to be a bit bigger than everyone's expecting it to be, just because they're pushing the marketing so hard on it.
Yeah, but then people get into the game and they're like, oh my god.
People are going to be like, oh man, it's got robots and dinosaurs and it's cool, right? And I don't think that people who are like, oh, I just get to walk around and kill stuff are going to be very impressed with it, I guess.
I was so shocked when I went on Facebook earlier, and I saw 2 of my friends on there had bought Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I was like, what? I did not expect like to see this. So yeah, it does seem like a really niche game, but I'm glad
it's also got online play, and I would like to play with a couple of friends because you can party up in the game apparently and just do side quests and stuff.
How many people can you do in your party?
Don't know because I don't have any friends that own the game yet.
Maybe that's something we should. I'm just a bit terrified of getting into it.
But you can do like a single player experience. Where it puts you online, but it doesn't make a very big deal about it if you like get kicked off the server or whatever. It's just like, yeah, whatever, carry on. But these things come up in the like bottom corner where you all have to work together, even though you're not like in the same world. You're all playing the game at the same time, and you can kill specific enemies, and it all counts towards like a squad goal. Where you'll get rewarded with like squad tokens or whatever. I don't know what they're for exactly, but I'll figure it out.
That's something to play about with, I think, then.
So you'll get like a thing at the bottom that will say, here's what you have to do, and you can kill certain enemies or collect certain items to hopefully clear all of it, and then I assume you get like a big reward if the squad manages to clear all the goals. I've never been in a squad that has done everything, because it gives you a 50-minute time limit to do everything, and they generate like every half hour, so...
But overall,
I'm a bit disappointed, but I'm only 14 hours in, so it could get better when I learn the mechanics a bit better, basically.
And then, what is it, about 40-odd hours, and you get mechs?
Apparently it's a bit far in. But I've started generating cash, and you can buy them. It's just I don't know whether they'll let me buy one before I'm supposed to have one.
Fair enough.
So let's see.
So, talking about need for tutorials, there's also the need for speed. That's a very...
Yeah, I've heard mixed things about this.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so, let's... I actually got into a bit of an argument on Steve's Facebook with one of his friends about Need for Speed. But, yeah, there's... it seems to be, like, a mixed reaction. I not that like Metacritic scores are important, but just to kind of get an idea, of the general kind of reception of critics. It was kind of, I don't know, half and half. Like there's like positive, and then there's mixed, and it's like, okay, well, some people are giving it like, I don't think this game deserves what some people are giving like on 9.5 or 9 out of 10 or whatever. I don't think it is really up there, for numerous reasons, which me and Steve can sort of cover. But the biggest complaint that sort of bugs me is people who go, oh, the handling's terrible, I can't get used to it, it's really awkward. Is that in this specific game, they literally make you able to alter everything in the handling, so you can change every aspect from like the steering response to the tyre pressure of the front tyres, the back tyres. You can change like to have it be completely grip based, so it just doesn't grip based. I was trying to say drift and grip. So or you can have it drift so it slides about all the place. And people, I don't feel like a lot of people are really taking advantage of that personalised handling and not really messing about with it, because each car is different. And then there's some cars where the first time I played, I was like, this is really awkward to control, like it's not responding enough. So I changed the steer response rate and I turned it up so it was a bit more responsive. And you tinker about with the settings a bit and you're like, this is my perfect fit for me. It's like, you can work it around, okay, what's my kind of driving style and what can I do? And for me personally, I have it very high on drift. So because I just love drifting around corners at like 200 miles an hour. But yeah, there is a handful of problems. But I want to know what Steve thinks of the game overall, and also if he has any problems first. It'll be quite interesting.
One of the things on the game, there's a car on there, a Ford Focus, and my own personal car that I've got in real life, is quite a quick car. So I purchased a Ford Focus, got the same brake, so brake horsepower, compared to what the Focus has got. So I tried it out to see what it would be like if it was real life. And like Matt said, if you tinker with all the settings and that, it will...
You didn't drive like this in real life, did you?
No, of course. No.
You said I wanted to try it out.
No. I didn't drift around a corner in real life. He's got 10,000. Yeah. No, what I meant was I tested the Ford Focus out to see if it was actually like, the way, cause you get this thing called launch control. And obviously my car in real life doesn't have launch control. I wish it did, but.
Do you get launch control?
Yeah, and some of the ones you do. You get launch control on some of the cars. So I tested it out just to see exactly what speed you could get, and it does match out to what my car in real life. I don't think I should be saying that. But yeah, it's a pretty, oh damn. But yeah, I do like a lot of the aspects of the games. There are a few things I do not like about Need for Speed.
Like the cringeworthy story that isn't really a story.
Yeah, they could have made so many cutscenes like turn into something.
Do you know, I really like this game, but there's so many things that bug me about it because it's like, with the story, it's okay for a start, right? This is a 3 rated game, so they can't have alcohol in the cutscenes. So do you know what every single cutscene has? Doesn't matter if they're in a diner. Doesn't matter if they're by the trailer park having a party. It doesn't matter if they're, at the bar. Wherever you go, there's Monster Energy drinks. And they're all drinking Monster Energy drinks. It's like being at EGX. Like, they're all just drinking energy drinks. And it's like, they're playing beer pong in one of the parties with Monster Energy drinks.
Are they shouting constantly, don't just win, do damage?
I've heard there's loads of like fist bumps and all the cutscenes. They sound really cheesy, and I kind of
it's like they're at a school play and they're like trying their best to act because it is okay. The problem is though there are some good parts like where the acting is good. Like there's one bit where one of the there's so many opportunities where you think something's about to get serious. Like this guy, there's like a group of like your crew is like 5 or 6 racers, and they all have like their different sort of specialties and what their interest is. Like one's a mechanic, one's into drifting, one's into just high speed races. And the whole plot is that you're meant to be like getting the attention of these like racing legends. And obviously all the cutscenes are in FMVs. So you're in like this guy with a GoPro, and they do the weirdest things because they they stare into your eyes for way too long than is normally possible. So at the beginning you have like this 30-second stare down with this guy, he's just staring at you like this. And so many times whenever they talk to you, it's really creepy sometimes because if you're talking with the group, they'll all stare at you directly in the eyes like this. So like, hey man, so I've got this race coming up, and I was wondering if you want to, and it's stare for too, no one does that in real life, no one stares, and it's obviously to like immerse you and make you feel like they're looking at you, but they do these things like, I can't believe you stole this Legends car, and it's like, oh wow, maybe there's some story going here, maybe the guy who owns the car is gonna, get really pissed about that, and then he's gonna take one of the characters and kidnap them, and then, you're gonna have some rivalry, and like, oh no, I didn't steal it, he let me borrow it, and you're like, oh, okay. And then there's another bit where it's like one of the racers who's like your kind of really good friend in the game, he's like getting really jealous of you, and you're like, oh okay, he's getting jealous, so I need to talk to you, meet me at the bar, and it's like, oh, things are getting serious, and he comes to you, he has a like really big like argument, he starts shouting in your face basically, like, how dare you take that opportunity from me, like, and you're like, oh well, here we go, here's a story going, what if this guy, he does some, he becomes our rival, and because his jealousy makes him do some stupid things, and it's like half of the crew are trying to calm him down, but also trying to, make sure we're both getting along, but there's this tension. And so he's like going, oh yeah, you denied me this opportunity, I can't believe I wanted to meet this legend. And then all the other guys are like, oh, calm down, man, like calm down, bro. And it's like, okay, I'll calm down. You're like, oh, for fuck's sake. And he just calms down. You're like,
do they kiss and make up over a can of Monster?
They fist bump. No, they do fist bump a lot. It's like watching a video of PewDiePie, like, it's, but they just like, it's just like, bro, dude, that was sweet, man. Yeah. And then every time
there's fist bump.
There's like a bit of drama in the story, and you're like, oh, this could mean something. This could add to something. They just have such an opportunity and they squander it because they stamp it out straight away. It's like, he goes from being really angry at you to going, okay, I'm calm. Sorry about that, man. And you're like, what the fuck? Oh, hit me or something. Get pissed at me, and you're constantly hoping something like that will happen and it doesn't. So like the story is just basically non-existent. At the end, it's like, let's all just have a drink of Monster Energy drink with the legends and let's have a good time. And it's like, I know it's a racing game and story isn't probably the most main priority, but it's still like, why bother at all if you're not gonna, it's just the illusion of the story. And I don't know, the good thing is that the game, what saves this game is how good the actual driving feels and the gameplay of how the cars feel. Like, it feels so good to drift round a corner in a Lamborghini going like 190 miles an hour and then doing a perfect, because the drifting does take some skill. I'm sure there's a lot of people that get mad. I can't drift. It's like, well, practice then. Like, I was on Twitter, I tweeted me, drifting in this car. So EA retweeted it. My phone broke because I got like 200 likes. And I started getting responses of people going, "Oh, how do you drift in this car?" Like, and then one guy, best guy ever, says to me, "Oh, if you think this is your favourite car to drift in, you obviously haven't tried changing the settings of the other cars." And I was like, I've messed around with the settings and everything. And he's like, and I said, "I've changed the maximum drift." And he said, "Oh, well, if you've changed the maximum drift, you obviously, that's the reason why." And I said, "I didn't say I just changed that. It's all about preferences." He goes, "Best tweet ever. You don't know how act good tuned car." And so I said, "Okay, not exactly sure what you don't know how act good car means, but, maybe try again." So it is all down to, like, you have to learn the drifting. You have to kind of take some getting used to. But when you do it, it's really satisfying. Like, even Steve found that, I think.
Yeah. But what I do like about Need for Speed, though, is when you play some races, all cars are the same. They drive the same. But with Need for Speed, every single car that you drive has a different characteristic of how they handle, how they, how you go around corners, how you brake. And that's what I like about Need for Speed, about the cars, that they're all different in their own equal way.
I've heard that some of the AI is really bad, like, and they knock you off of, like, drifts and everything in some of the missions.
Oh, Christ, yeah.
Oh, there's one where you have to drift as a group, and if you drift as a group, the other guys smack into you, ruining your drift. But if you try and drift away from them because they're hitting into you, it's like, "Oh, stay in the group, otherwise this score doesn't count." And those are the worst ones. But the biggest problem with the AI is the cops, like in the cops pursuit, because you have to try and get caught so badly that they've improved it. They added a patch and they made them more aggressive and faster. They're still not perfect, but originally you could lose them driving 100 miles an hour and driving without crashing. And you had to go like 70 miles an hour and go, "Come on, keep up. And then they would ram into, like, I had one where, there was a challenge. It was like, "Oh, you've got to be in a 5-minute cop chase in a car under 250 horsepower. So I was in a 1970s Volvo.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say that.
And this cop car just rams into, like, the safety rails on the side of the road. And he's just smacking into it. And he stopped and he's revving his wheels, like they're spinning the wheels, and the car's just driving into it, not going anywhere. So I just stood there and watched the cop car while the pursuit timer went up. And I was like, "Done it." And then drove off.
I will say with mine, I had the old Volkswagen Golf, the 1972 Golf, very old one with circle lights. And I didn't mod mine or anything. And I was doing 69 miles an hour and off the cops. I was like, what? They got superchargers.
It's like you have to try and get caught, and then if you build up your heat level, it's a bit like Wanted level in GTA or whatever. But even then, it was bad. But now, when they patched it, I said to Steve, "You might notice they're a bit more aggressive, because now they're like bang and they ram into you and they keep up."
I came on with my 1972 Golf or whatever it was, and I thought I'd have another go. I came on and they smashed me off the road. I was like, "Oh my God." So I brought my Lambo out and I was doing like 180 miles an hour and they were still keeping up with me. And I was like, "What?" They couldn't keep up with me when I was doing that before.
That's the main complaints. Probably the story and the cop AI is just, it's massively improved. But it's still not perfect, because they're struggling to make that feel like an actual pursuit, like a cop chase. And if they had just either just not bothered trying to create some sort of empty story and just focus more on other things, or done a really good story, it would have been better. And they also if they just added more to it, because I've managed to like 100% the entire game in like 30 hours. And I was like, well, I've max leveled, I've done all the collectibles, I've done every single race, and I'm 30 hours in. I'm like, well, what now? And
Need for Speed for me was the easiest game I've ever played to get platinum.
Oh, that's true. Say that. Yeah, it's so easy.
Easiest game. The most easiest game I've ever done. And I thought these trophies are going to be well hard. And I did it I wiped the floor with it, and I was like, really? Have I really just got platinum? I had to go back and look at it to make sure I did.
So the question is then, is it worth getting?
Probably on a sale, I would say. If it's, I say it's worth like £30. I'd say if you see it for like 55 or 50, probably not.
No.
But if it's like on sale at all, then it would probably be worth it. The thing is, though, the classic thing with reboots is that they change completely everything, and this is a reboot, but then they lack content and there's some unpolished stuff, and it always seems to be like the next game from the reboot is always the best one almost, because they take what they learned with the reboot and then flesh it out, improve the things. It's a bit like Tomb Raider to Rise of the Tomb Raider, or Fallout 3 to Fallout 4. People have a lot of problems with the previous games, and then it's like with the next Need for Speed, whenever they make that, they've got to keep the same gameplay and the driving, because that's the main positive. Is it's the best handling and driving experience in terms of driving the cars about that I've ever played in any game, any driving game, any racing game ever. It's just the other stuff that's the problem. So if they can do the next game, go, okay, we got the reboot, this is the identity now, this is the way it's going to handle and feel, add a really good story to it, make the AI smarter, like the cops in particular, and then just flesh it out a bit, then this, it could be the perfect racing game if they just do that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's one of those ones that you wait for a sale type games, I'd say.
I kind of want to put an insult in here. I kind of wish they would do the same thing with Call of Duty, is reboot the whole franchise and do it all over again. Because I think Call of Duty's just gone completely dead. For me anyway, and I'm a Call of Duty fanboy.
Jesus, I never thought I'd ever hear Steve
I'm a Call of Duty
fanboy. We've missed it at Gauntlet. First day of Steve playing it, usually it takes people 1 month to realise that Call of Duty isn't really that great this year, and it's a lot of the recycled stuff. It took Steve 1 day, and he was like, this is terrible.
Right. On a solid day? Or...
I played Call of Duty. I put Black Ops 3 and I was really pumped to play it. I didn't listen to anyone's comments, didn't listen to anyone on a PlayStation, what they were saying. I played it for 1 day. I played the zombies. I was like, oh my God, what have I played? I played the campaign. Now the campaign was like a child narrating. The acting was terrible.
It can't be worse than Need for Speed.
It wasn't as worse as Need for Speed, but I was very shocked about a Call of Duty game, if that bad. The online multiplayer, is just absolutely terrible. The matchmaking is terrible. The hit marking detection, there might as well not be anything at all. Because when you fire bullets, they don't even bloody register half the time. You got to fire half a magazine, and the player is still running across the map. And it's like, hold on a minute, I've just wasted a whole magazine on you, or nearly a whole magazine, 2 bullets left in the clip, and you're still running. I don't get it. It's terrible.
Is this a Treyarch one, or is this?
Yeah, Treyarch one. And I am so shocked about Treyarch. I really am, because usually they're the kind of they're the ones that revive it after Infinity Ward have got their hands on it. And they've ruined it. But Treyarch, seriously, what is going on with you? What have you done? You've killed it. You've put the last nail in the coffin and drilled it right in.
We say that, and what did I ask you after you told me all this before? I said, are you still going to buy the next Call of Duty next year? You said, probably. This is why, can I just say, this is why Call of Duty sells so many copies, because everybody who buys it complains about it every year, but they still buy the game the next year.
Because I'm a kind of person, if you get like COD 4, everyone loved COD 4, World at War, everyone loved World at War, Modern Warfare 2, loved Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, I love that. Every year it comes out, I think to myself, maybe they've made some changes. And what do? They take all your money, DLC they expect you to pay for. And I don't understand why, because it's just basically remade maps from the last Call of Duty. And I don't get it. Like, why, with all that money they've made, why don't they make a rebooted game?
The other thing is, you've got Halo 5, which has got free content every month, at least one free map coming out every month. And then meanwhile, you've got Activision charging people for maps they've made already and have remastered, and they're charging people for, and it's like, it just seems like they're stuck in their old way. Even Assassin's Creed is kind of stuck in the same rut of they're stuck in the past, and they need to evolve and adapt, because I know that's kind of ironic. But because I've played Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I haven't really talked about it, but I've played Assassin's Creed Syndicate, And although I think that is probably the best one I've played since Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, which was back in like 2010, I still feel like it's not amazing. It's a good game, but it annoyed me that they were like, with that one, there's going to be so much of we're going to go revisit the modern day story and the Animus, and then all they did was give you like 30-second cutscenes that you can't even control. It's like, thanks for that.
So I know Steve was saying like Call of Duty needs a reboot, but wasn't that almost like Advanced Warfare? Wasn't that an attempted sort of changing everything up?
Yeah, but that was Infinity Ward.
But it wasn't. That was Sledgehammer Games.
Sledgehammer. Sorry, not Infinity Ward.
Yeah, that's the only reason I bought Advanced Warfare was because it seemed like the first one that was really truly that different compared to like the last 5 years, or whatever.
You're saying going back to the original 4, which was the first almost reboot of the series, wasn't it?
No, actually, I will go back to Advanced Warfare. Actually, give it its dues. It's not as bad as Black Ops 3. I will give it that. It's not, Advanced Warfare isn't great on its own, but it was much better than Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 just feels like, they haven't learned from any of their mistakes that the community said. The community said so many things to sort out, but they never seem to take on anything on board. They don't seem to learn from the mistake they made last year or the year before that. They've taken your money and they think, if it's not in their pockets, fair enough. And they just don't seem to give you anything else. And then DLC, they give you a map that was made from last year's game and they just polish it up and make it HD and, give it better textures and then make you pay 12 quid for it.
What's the funniest thing though is they say that people, like, it's a bit ironic, is they say that loads of people ask for like a remastered version of some of the older games. And then they say, but you guys asked for remasters, but you don't, like, they say something about, everyone asks for remasters, but when it comes down to it, they wouldn't really want it. But I find funny about that is they've been releasing remasters every year. And people have been buying it, so clearly they do. It's like, I don't actually know if they realise what they're doing and if they're just like, I'm really proud of what I've done here and like,
I think what they need to do is the main developer, the one that actually decides what's going to go into this game, the person that figures out, okay, we're going to do this year. I think they need to fire him and get a whole new team.
I think there's one guy.
No, it's not one guy, but what I mean is the main, like,
it's Todd Howard. He's walked in, he's like,
the main production manager, the one that actually oversees everything. I think they need to fire him.
You need Activision, who are the publishers, to say, right, this is what we're going to do now. We're going to take a bit of a break and we're going to, but they don't need to. That's the thing. They're selling so many.
They're not going to do that until like sales figures drop off.
Yeah, if you want them to like redo Call of Duty, stop buying it.
Exactly, but that's not going to happen.
I'm making a plea to you, please. I know you're not going to listen to me, but please just make your game better. Like, please.
They're not going to do that if you buy their game anyway.
Well, I'm not buying your game next year.
Okay, well, I'm going to have this on record. What is it? Okay, December 2015. So next year, we'll revisit this, and I can guarantee, I'm willing to put money on it, that Steve will buy the next Call of Duty.
Right, Steve, to the future of next November, do not buy Call of Duty until they sort themselves out, okay? Thank you.
But, that's the problem, like, people who buy it every year, it's because they don't want to admit that their favourite franchise is not what it used to be. It's the same with Assassin's Creed. Okay, I still buy Assassin's Creed games. I'm now starting to realise now they seriously need to change something. After playing Syndicate, I was like, I'm becoming one of these people that buys COD every year and then just doesn't, And it's the same thing. We've got to stop buying these games if we want them to actually change. They rebooted Need for Speed because the sales started to drop. They stopped making Guitar Hero for quite a few years because the sales dropped. If the sales drop, then they'll rethink it and they'll do something. But, yeah. Is there any other games that anyone...
Battlefield Hardline.
What about it?
Oh, okay, what about it? Right, okay.
There's loads of other games.
Right, Battlefield Hardline.
No, I'm just saying, like, what about it is what you want to talk about?
Okay, so Battlefield Hardline. Obviously me and you have got it, Matt. Have you got it, Andy?
No.
Ebbie, have you got it? Okay, so it's just going to be me and you now, Matt. What did you think about Battlefield? Well, obviously I bought it first. And then you bought it after me, didn't you? After I gave you a few like hints and I told you it's an amazing game, and then you went to
saw all the reviews and I was like,
"Oh, so you didn't take my word for it then?"
Not really, because I just saw that it was like when Steve said he bought it, I was like, why? And I was like, it's got terrible like reviews, and everyone's just really like, it's like a 6 out of 10 game, or it's not really, it's got lots of things wrong with it. And after playing it, I really enjoy it. I think the multiplayer is brilliant. I think they nailed that. But the problem is the single player is just, I think it is the worst single player I've played in a shooter. And most people that play first person shooters don't tend to play it for the single player, but it just doesn't work. Like, it's just this concept of like, oh, you're a cop, undercover cop, whatever. Like, you show your badge to somebody, and then it's like, okay, you put your badge away to go arrest them, and they pull a gun up again. You're like, okay, show my badge again.
But you can't get out of that kind of cutscene to be able to stop them from shooting you.
But it's like you go around showing your badge. Like, oh, stop, show your badge, and they're like, okay, and you're like, okay, put it away. Oh, stop. Okay, put it away.
I will say for Battlefield though, it's for a franchise of this level, it's the worst campaign I've ever played, and that is pretty shocking for Battlefield games in itself.
I think it's just nowadays they focus on multiplayer because that's where the money is, and that's where all of the sort of attention goes on to. It's all this stuff with esports now as well, and like Call of Duty trying to get into esports, and even like the last gen version is not even having a single player campaign for Black Ops 3.
But the multiplayer overall for me on Battlefield Hardline, I wouldn't say that I'm like overly impressed to give it a 10 out of 10. If it was me being honest, I'd probably give it maybe an 8 out of 10.
It's
the multiplayer.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? Like, because I remember playing it back ages ago, and there was modes like the I can't remember what it's called. It's like a heist mode where you've got to capture and hold a vehicle and drive around the map, and the cops are doing it and the robbers are doing it. Hotwire.
I really don't like that mode.
And it doesn't make any sense. It's like, why would a police car be driving around, or sorry, a police officer be driving around the map to stop the robbers from being able to do it themselves as well? It just didn't seem to.
That mode in particular,
it's a game mode,
doesn't really make sense at all.
I'll explain to you how the game mode works, basically. I got really confused about the game mode. I didn't really know. But how it works in Battlefield is every gun requires money to buy, and different attachments and stuff like that. Hotwire is only a game mode if you can shoot people, but you don't really get much money for it. It's a game mode where you want to get a fuck ton of money to be able to buy different guns that are quite expensive. That's the only game mode, the only time you play that game mode, if you want a load of money to be able to buy a gun that costs you 10 grand.
Yeah, but it's like kind of like, what's the...
I understand the point. What's the point of the game mode?
The game mode doesn't make any sense, and it's not really fun. It's just like, because that's what Steve kept saying to me. It's like, but you can get loads of money really easily to buy more weapons and upgrades and stuff. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not having fun. Like, this mode is really bad.
You drive around. If you could do it, and I actually did it in one game mode. I drove around for 22 minutes just driving around, and in one game I got 25
that's
grand.
Fine, but you're not having fun in those 20 minutes because you're just driving around.
No, you're not.
This is boring. But the other modes, like Blood Money, is where I think I played it during the beta, where you have to take money from like a money pile, and then and you bring it back to your vault, and the cops have a vault as well, and the cops are trying to get money as well to keep it as evidence, and the robbers are trying to like take that money. But you can go to each other's vault, and you could steal the money off of their vault if they collect from the money pile and drop it off of their vault. You can go for the money pile as well, or you could steal it all and raid their vault and bring it back to yours. And that's probably the best mode, I'd say.
Again,
the one thing it
doesn't make sense for a load of cops to be going, "Hey, let's steal this money from the robbers."
No, they're not stealing the money.
They're not stealing it.
It's just they're trying to stop the
you've got the robbers
getting it.
Yeah, you've got the robbers, and they take the money and they put it into their vault. So it's like basically like a bank job. Well, that's what it is. The police are then going to their vault to take the money as evidence, and then, okay, I can kind of see Andy's point a little bit. Like, why would the cops be doing that? But, you know,
let's take it $100 at a time.
It's basically like there's all this illegal money kind of like laying around in the middle of the map, and the cops robbers are trying to retrieve it so they can obviously get rich, and they're trying to steal the money, and the cops trying to stop them from doing that, and they're trying to secure the money, you know, and so that they can't take all that money and drive off with it, basically.
Okay.
But it is, I'd say, that is probably the most fun mode. It's not the best Battlefield game.
No, not by far.
But I'd say they've done a really good job with the multiplayer, I think.
Yeah, but one thing I will say about the multiplayer in Battlefield, especially Battlefield Hardline, is that you can't just go one man solo and like go to a vault and steal all the money. You have to work as a team, so you have to have a spotter. You have to have a machine gunner, like to stand on a door or whatever, as with the spotter. Then you have another person that's stealing from the vault, and I actually did it with Matt and one of his friends, and we actually depleted their whole vault and ran back. And so again, when you've got a money sack on your back, you can't run as fast. So you have to have a spotter and a machine gunner or a sniper or whatever. It does require a lot of skill in Battlefield, I find, because if you have a gunner, for instance, and they're not very good at aiming, and your person who's got all the money on their back, if it took them 20 minutes to empty a vault, for instance, whatever, going backwards and forwards, you will get killed very easily. So again, it does require a lot of skill and also in being able to get the hit detection right, because if you don't, for that 20 minutes you spent, you're going to get killed and you're going to lose all that money. So it does require a lot of skill.
I'd say in summary, it's probably, again, one of those games to get on a sale, really. It is on sale. I mean, I paid like £17 for it, and I'd say it's worth that. This wouldn't have been a game that I would have paid £50 for on release. I think if I had spent that kind of money, I would have been severely disappointed, but for what I paid, I think, it's fine. For that kind of money, it's probably worth it.
Ebbie, what are you laughing at? May I ask?
My friend's doing a stream right now. And
right, okay, fair enough.
A funny picture.
I thought you were laughing about Battlefield. Sorry, my bad.
Battlefield Hardline is still £50 for an Origin code on Amazon.
To be fair, that is a joke.
Yeah, but Origin, I've got very high priced games. I went into a store, I can't remember which one it was now, and Advanced Warfare is £54 still, and I'm thinking, are they sure they marked that out right? Are they sure they put that on Black Ops 3, and that's what it's meant to be? But the store person said it was correct, and I was like, £54 for Advanced Warfare.
But the thing is, you just click on the physical version of it, and it's £12.40.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But, that happens, like, ridiculously overpriced games. I think that's everything. I think that covers quite a long discussion, but I think that covers, all the games we've been playing, really.
There's been a lot of games out, though, and a lot that we've all played, And it's,
it's the Christmas season.
Yeah, and everyone loves the Christmas season. Yes, and
the final, just to have a quick chat about, there was PlayStation Experience 2015, and not that many big announcements. Probably the thing that caused the most speculation was, there's Final Fantasy VII. There's a lot of sort of controversy about what they've done with that, the remake, but also the fact that I forget his last name, Sean something, the CEO of Sony Computer Entertainment, he came out wearing a Crash Bandicoot t-shirt. And everyone was like, what's going on? And there was no mention of it. But I do have a theory, which is I think that come E3, obviously there's this thing about you're going to be able to play PS2 games on the PS4. And my theory is that you'll be able to, at E3 they'll announce that you'll be able to play the Crash Bandicoot games from PS2 on PS4, but not only that, but there's a new Crash Bandicoot game coming out. And I feel like that's going to be one of their big announcements for E3 next year. Because why else would you, whenever they wear t-shirts in these events and conventions, like the CEOs and everything, like Phil Spencer, he wears he rocks the shop with those ones. Like when they announced Recore for Xbox One, he wore the Recore t-shirt. When Forza Motorsport was coming out, he wore a Forza Motorsport t-shirt. That's the sort of thing that they do. And they don't wear those t-shirts by going, whoops, I've accidentally put on a Crash Bandicoot t-shirt. Whoopsie me. So I don't know if anyone else thinks that theory is possible or...
Well, maybe. Naughty Dog are going to be done with Uncharted 4 by then. So maybe.
Best thing is he goes, oh, sorry. He goes, Crash Bandicoot t-shirt. He takes that off and there's Jak and Daxter. And then he goes, everyone's like, he's like, okay, we've got a bit of an announcement to make. Jak and Daxter 4! And I go, wah! Freak out and I run out.
Now they go, there's going to be another Ratchet and Clank game because I got it mixed up.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I never really played the original Final Fantasy VII, but it's available on PS4 right now. if you want to play it. But what do you... I know Steve hasn't seen it and he's never played a Final Fantasy game, but have either of you seen the gameplay from the remake? What do you think of it?
I'm actually really excited. I've never played Final Fantasy VII, but I always wanted to. But every time I look at like screenshots of the game now, I'm like,
it looks
really,
well at all.
It looks bad.
Look on the PS4 store and look at the game and the screenshots on there. It's like they've got this character kind of copied and pasted into a wallpaper.
Yeah,
it's really weird, but.
And I really like the Advent Children movie. I don't know why, because I have no context to that movie. I shouldn't like it, because I don't know what it's really about. But every time I watch that movie, I'm like, oh, that's a good movie.
I remember having fun with it, like, when I played it. But, like, whether that's sort of when you're looking back with rose-tinted glasses and having a bit of nostalgia, and whether everyone else is getting into that nostalgia, and then people that haven't played it as well.
I've seen a lot of backlash though from like people who like the original, going, "This is nothing like the original," like, because it's all like real time combat now, isn't it? And back then it was turn based.
Yeah, back then it was all turn based.
And people saw that like, this is nothing like the original, but like it is a remake, not a remaster. You know?
Yeah, the thing is, like, if you want to play Final Fantasy VII in that way, you already have that game.
They're not coming into your door. They're going to kick down your door and go, "Oi, give us that copy!" Like, no, take it away from you. Like, you can still play that original game. No one's taking it from you. It's just if you want to play the remake, that's there as well.
Yeah, I feel like it's got the potential to be good, but no one who likes Final Fantasy already seems to be giving it much of a chance.
It's probably because they're taking the story from 7 and they're changing up everything so much with regards to like the combat system, and it's like, well, apparently there's a lot of janky like conversations and stuff with it, and it was meant to be badly translated back at the time. I can't really remember precisely like the bad translations.
I don't know if it's me or like if it was the stream was like slightly delayed with audio and the visual, but it looked like that the cutscenes where they were talking didn't match up with their mouths.
That's because the mouths are made to move like they're talking in Japanese, so when they dub over it, they can't make it look right.
Off. It was like
if you go and watch the Advent Children movie, they have that exact same problem.
I guess it is.
But they are. I did notice that they are using the voices from the Advent Children movie, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so if you want to try out the original and you don't like the remake, you can always buy it now. I think it's $8.99 on the PS Store.
I'm just gonna wait for the remake, because then I know that I have a chance of liking it, because if you like the original Final Fantasy, you can't like this. Like,
it is completely different. And if you played it now, you're like, this isn't really that great. And back then, you know, like Andy said, it might be just rose tinted, you know, goggles really. There was also like what was it, Street Fighter V news. I did find quite funny. I liked the energy of the presentation, but what was quite funny was when
it
hasn't been leaked yet. And I was like, but then they said, so wasn't it like Ryu isn't he's a post-launch character or something? He won't be available.
Guile
or somebody, one of the main characters was not going to be available for like on launch, and I remember people were like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of a big deal for me."
I'm having a look right now. Yeah. So Fang was announced yesterday, and then Guile, Balrog, Ibuki, Juri, Alex, and Urien are all post-launch characters, which will be free, but you can pay for them if you want them immediately. Otherwise, you can earn them in-game.
Would you get, like, street credit or something? Or street
creds? Street creds.
Street creds.
Get those street
Get, like, those rainbow credits on Rainbow Six Siege. You can buy boosters on that game and then level up or get access to things before anyone else. Yeah.
I thought that was a bit weird that they were like, "Oh, you can buy the season pass now, but you don't have to because you can earn them in-game." And I'm like...
Yeah, it's like, I don't understand.
Is anyone really that desperate to get Balrog? I guess so.
Maybe they are.
Also, Double Fine were like Remastered City. Oh, we're bringing another 10 remastered games out. The only reason I care about Double Fine really is because they announced Psychonauts 2 at the Game Awards, and I kind of had a bit of a meltdown.
No,
have you funded it?
Right. Can we just talk about like how Double Fine have done with their last few games, and they've not been doing that well. Like Space Base DF9, which is an early access game which they brought out and completely abandoned. I
heard really bad things about Broken Age Part 2. Like, a lot of people didn't like Broken Age Part 2.
That was like completely late. Like, it didn't come out when it was meant to. And
I've started, maybe it's because I watched a documentary and I kind of sympathised a bit, I don't know. But like, when I played Broken Age, I haven't completed it, but I've played a little bit of Act 2, and it does get a bit messy, like, in terms of the storytelling and stuff. Like, the first act of that game is perfect, and like, the way they like, that is, like, in terms of, as far as point-and-click adventure games go, that first act and how the storytelling in it and how things are revealed and things aren't what they seem, I was like, this is brilliant. It's perfect. And it does sort of fall apart a little bit in the second act. Although I haven't completed it, so I don't really know. But I know that, yeah, there's people who love Act 1, but then just think Act 2 is terrible. But I have to kind of experience it fully.
I just want to know why they need about $10 million to make a fucking indie game.
It's because Psychonauts cost just as much. It costs like the same. They're trying to make Psychonauts 2 with the same budget they had for the original one.
But I don't think he should be trusted with crowdfunding. I just don't think he's Tim Schafer's a trustworthy character. Like, just going on what the history is.
It was just when they said Psychonauts 2, because what happened, I was watching the Game Awards, but my thing kept on getting really laggy, and all I saw was a Double Fine logo appear, and I heard loads of cheers, and it was frozen on that image, and I just heard people going, "What?" And I was like, hang on a minute, what game is this? And I was like, it's not what I think it is. Like, no, I was like, wouldn't it be funny if it was Psychonauts 2? So I reloaded the stream and jumped back a bit, and I was like, it's Psychonauts 2. I was like, what the hell? I think I was just excited at the fact that I've been waiting for them to announce a sequel for that game for so long, and the original game is so, not just because it does other things, like it tackles like mental health issues, it does a good job at that, but it also is, outside of that, a really good sort of adventure platformer sort of game, and it's really, like, the level's really creative, the characters are really likeable, there's some funny dialogue, like, it's a really kind of, it's a lot like those old school kind of, platformers really, and adventure games that people used to like, and just the thought they make a second one, I don't know what they're going to do with the second one, because I feel like they might have run out of, their bag of tricks might be empty for that kind of game, because they might have, it was just, that was the trick, it was such a unique game, it's such a different game. I played it in 2010 when it came out on Steam, and that, like, especially for 2010, it was like, this game doesn't have the visuals that live up to, because it was originally came out in 2005, but it didn't have the visuals of games around 2010, but it was, so unique and different that I don't know what they're going to do the second time around, but I'm excited to see what it's going to look like and what comes out from it. I'm not going to, I'm probably not going to back it. I'm probably not going to get overly hyped for it until I actually see what is actually the game's like and what kind of state it's in. I hope it does get funded though, just purely for the fact that I would like to see that game come to life. If it's
I think they're just playing on people's nostalgia and trying to get the game funded. I don't trust.
I don't like Tim Schafer that much.
No, I don't trust.
There's just something about him that comes across as really greasy.
Tim Schafer, that name rings a bell.
He's the Double Fine guy.
He's got like black curly hair.
Right.
But he, it's just, I would like, if that game ends up being a disappointment, then fair enough. But at least I can say that, I just want the idea of that game to exist and come out because I've wanted a sequel for so long. But if it ends up being terrible, I can go say at least another game came out, and rather than not knowing the sequel that could have been, I'd rather know whether they could have pulled off a sequel or not. It's the thought of never having a sequel for that game and going, could they have pulled it off? Could they have made a good game? At least I know, and I can have closure on the front of that game series and just be
that's fair enough.
Would you though
to be fair, I'm Banjo 3. That's never going to happen.
But if Fallout 4 had been a massive pile of shit,
At least I would have known. At least I would have known
that game they couldn't have pulled it off. And
like the only thing I always think is like, what if Rare hadn't been bought by Microsoft and they'd made Banjo 3? Like that must have been. That's one of the things that I'm like, oh, that could have been such a good game.
It's just you want to see, just for curiosity's sake, to see how's that game going to end up. What's it going to be like? Were they able to do a good job the next time round? And at least you can say, well, I know this game was the best they ever did and that they messed it up and that was really their golden moment of that franchise.
No, I prefer them not to trample on my memories of a genre.
Well, it doesn't really trample. It's going back to like Final Fantasy VII Remake of like, no one's taking those old games away from you. No one's saying you can't play them. You know, it's not going to trample it if you go, oh, this game's terrible, I can no longer enjoy the older ones now. It's like, really? Just go back and play those ones instead if you don't like this game. If this game's a pile of crap, go back and play the older ones. Same with remakes, you know, if Ratchet and Clank, when that comes out, if you don't like that compared to the original, just go back and play the original if you really like it. And, you know, that's not tarnishing your memory of that game because that game still exists and no one can take that away from you, really. Unless
I agree with you on that point.
Go, no.
I agree with you on that point, but I still don't trust Tim Schafer.
Yeah, no, I am sceptical, but I'm sceptical and excited at the same time, like I'm sure a lot of people were with Fallout 4, so, you know.
Andy.
What else was there? Bastion's coming to PS4. Ni no Kuni 2. The game I never expected to happen, and I'm so excited about it, and that's my reason to get a PS4. It could end up being a big disappointment, though.
I still got Ni no Kuni. Like, I haven't actually finished that game, so maybe I should do that. But it's such a charming JRPG that's got, like, monster collection in it, and it's so much fun, and so charming, and magical, and wonderful, and I can't wait for the second one. Like, that was a game that I never expected to happen, ever, so I'm quite pleased. Good job. Yeah. Good job, PlayStation.
There was lots of like indie game after indie game, really. I was kind of interested that they are releasing Bastion for PS4 and like, they're releasing Bastion for PS4 and Vita. When they did
they announced a lot of indie games, didn't they?
I just do you remember
here's
when
this old indie game
every time
that no one hears about anymore.
Oh, this game's coming out for PS4 and Vita, and it was like,
and he'd pull the Vita out of his back pocket, like.
And Vita, and it was like,
did you remember one of these?
Yeah, do you care anymore? But like, I was kind of surprised about Bastion. There was Nuclear Throne, which came out on the 5th of December for PS4. Ratchet and Clank, though, got a release date. I am hyped. Yeah, 12th of April. And that is actually one of the games that I am really excited for next year. In terms of like, if I could pick 5, that would be on that list. Because I love all the other Ratchet and Clank games, but never played the original one on PS2. And then I looked at a comparison video, I was like, it's completely different. And like I don't know how close the movie is to, I don't know if they've just taken cutscenes from the movie and put them into the game, but like the cutscenes look like the movie quality. Because that's coming out as well, around the same sort of time. But yeah, I sort of, like, the thing I liked about Ratchet and Clank, even when we played at EGX...
I was going to say you played at EGX, didn't you?
Yeah, it was, and the thing I like about Ratchet and Clank in general is just how different all the weapons feel, and how some of them are just, like, really sort of stupid. Like, you had the, what they show off, like, the Grievatron, which is like a grenade you throw down, and it turns into, like, disco balls, and that distracts the enemies from dancing. And you've also got, like, the Pixelator, where if you shoot an enemy, it turns into loads of tiny little pixels and withers away. So like that's the thing that Ratchet and Clank's always done a really good job of. It's just making every weapon feel different and unique and fun to use.
So it definitely looks, I've not actually played any of them, but it looks like it's got quite a nice little charm about it.
Yeah.
From what I saw you playing of it as well.
Yeah, it's definitely, and that's the sort of thing that I do appreciate about that franchise, is there is that sort of, it's the same with Jack, I'd like Jak and Daxter more, I'll admit, but...
Sorry. I just said a flashback.
I like Jak and Daxter more, but I know the flashback you've had when you were like, Matt, there's a Jak and Daxter game coming out in 2016. I was like, what?
No, I was just thinking when we went to EGX, there was like the Jak and...
The what?
Ratchet and Clank stuff, and it was close to the tearaway stuff. And I remember we went to play that game when Andy wasn't there, and they made like the snowflakes next to us that were penis shaped. They were like penis shaped snowflakes.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so in the sky it was like these snowflakes falling down. It was like giant penises with balls. Yeah, that was pretty funny. But yeah, like I was saying, I would prefer Jak and Daxter over Ratchet and Clank. But Ratchet and Clank is, out of those kind of games, was my sort of second favourite back then. And it's because of that sort of charm that they have in the characters. Have that sort of like, a lot bit of stupidity and crazy weapons, and that sort of stuff really merges well together. So I've just got to wait till April now for that. Eagle Flight, the game where you play, from the perspective of the eagle. For it's basically like you're playing as the eagle from Assassin's Creed, and you're just from the perspective of the but yeah, you're like from the view of an eagle flying around, like. And this kind of and other games brings me on to I have a big concern with VR that it's going to go the same way as motion controls, because all of the games they showed with VR just looked really gimmicky and fun for about 10 minutes. And I haven't really seen a game yet that's really...
but what about Modern Zombie Taxi?
It just seems like the same thing they had with motion controls, where it was like, I've got this great game, but it hasn't really got much depth, and it's like, it makes full use of your motion controls, and then it's like Connect Adventures. I can be in a raft and jump around, and like in VR, it's like, look, you can look around, and Job Simulator, you can look up and pour coffee over your head, and it's like, I don't know, I'm really worried that VR is going to go the same way as like the Kinect and the PlayStation Move. Maybe not as badly, but I don't see it taking off as well as some people might hope for.
I think I am leaning. I really want it to take off, but I think I'm leaning more into it less of having an impact on games, but more on just other aspects of life. Like if I don't know, I'm going to go for surgeons or something. If they can have like a VR, it's sort of like Surgeon Simulator, only better. But if they can actually practice doing like stuff in VR,
maybe that's why Microsoft are focusing more on like the HoloLens for like, the lifestyle type stuff, because maybe they think that it's going to be a massive because maybe they thought with the Kinect we thought motion controls would take off. They didn't really. They sort of crashed and burned. And they might think, with VR, that would seem... I know they're still doing stuff with HoloLens for like Minecraft and all that stuff, but not the same. Their marketing has been more focused around, you can use this for your job. If you work in product design, you can use it for viewing models, 3D models of the things you're working on, stuff like that instead. But
I mean, I suppose the stuff like the HoloLens could technically be used for VR as well if you covered up the lens.
But in terms
it wouldn't be as good, I don't think.
In terms of like PlayStation VR goes, maybe not Oculus Rift, I don't know, Oculus Rift or any of those other PC ones, but the PlayStation VR just seems like they've gone all VR, and then we go, let's do gimmicky games for it, and let's just show all the things they can do with VR, rather than add it onto a game that really does well with, like Alien Isolation with VR. When I played that, I thought it was a good addition. It's sort of like, don't develop games for VR, develop a game and then find a way to integrate VR into it that makes sense and actually is beneficial to the gameplay experience and how you're doing it. Because people keep on going, we're focusing on making a game for the virtual reality headset. And it's like, well, then you're just focusing on looking around and all the stuff you can do just with that headset and not really the gameplay outside of that, I think. I feel like you've got to... It needs to be integrated. And the same with motion controls. If they didn't focus on making games for motion controls and rather finding a way to get motion controls and integrate them into existing games as like an additional experience that actually improves that experience, then things would be a lot better. But...
Yeah, I mean, I quite enjoyed that demo that we played at the EGX Res Oculus something Rift, Oculus Rift, I think it was. No, that's the headset.
Oh, actually.
I can't remember what the one where you're sort of walking around in a dungeon and it was almost like Nightmare.
Rift.
Crystal Rift, yeah. I kind of enjoyed that, even though it was very basic. But like that seemed to be using VR for almost the right type of thing.
But it felt like they hadn't built the game. It felt like that is a game that could easily be played. It feels like that's a game that you take that game outside of VR and it won't be like the VR adds the value to it because
it enhances the experience.
Rather than if you take it out of other games and you just add to it, it just becomes a massive gimmick. Like that game felt very kind of important to have that, 'cause you could look behind you, and it was very useful. It was useful for the game and the gameplay. It's like it assisted the gameplay rather than just be some cool gimmick for 10 minutes.
I suppose you could liken it to 3D movies, whereas a lot of them just use it as a bit of a gimmick to have like something come out of the screen in your face. Yeah. Whereas there's so few movies that I can think of where they've actually used it effectively. Like I think Tron used 3D quite well because between the two different worlds, like it was very subtle the amount of 3D that they used in there.
I think that's the key to the success of the VR and like things like 3D is subtlety. Is because if they're in your face, like, hey guys, look, you can look at this with your VR headset. And they keep reminding people they're using a VR headset and they can do this. It needs to feel like a natural experience. Like, you don't even notice you're using it because it feels so natural to the gameplay that you're experiencing. Like when I was playing Alien Isolation, when I was playing Crystal Rift, I didn't think, I can do this with my headset. It felt like this is useful to use the headset because I can see where the alien is, or I can see this trap in a maze, around the corner. I can see around my surroundings, rather than going, like some of the indie games I've played of Oculus Rift, where it's like, you can walk up to this thing and inspect it and look around it. Oh, look, go forward and you can look closer at it. Like when I was there before EGX, and I was like, they were like, you can look forward at this floating object, and you're in space. And I moved forward, and he had to stop me from banging my head on the desk. And one guy did. He went bonk. But yeah, I'm just really worried about the state of VR. Seeing as just from that event, that sort of conference, it just kind of worried me a bit.
At least it looks better than it did back in the 90s when they tried.
Virtual Boy.
I think I'm more interested in AR than I am VR, to be honest. I just think there's more potential with augmented reality.
If they can find a way to kind of, just again, if they can find a way to integrate that into something and make it like an additional experience rather than these things making it the main focus of something, it doesn't work.
It's quite an interesting use of AR in sort of military stuff at the moment. Because I know the F-35s, which are the new aircraft that we're getting, they've got a load of cameras around the plane itself. So when the pilot can, like, they have an AR headset in their helmets basically,
and I go,
and
they
can
can
look.
I'm going to play on Crystal Rift.
No, but they can like look around, and it uses the cameras, so they can like see underneath their feet and actually see outside of the plane there.
Oh wow!
So that's really cool uses of AR, but
that could be useful. But,
yeah.
Or terrifying, either or, whatever.
You can see 10,000 foot below you.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think I'd be scared if I could see 10,000 foot.
I'd probably vomit.
Yeah. Inside your helmet.
Yeah.
It's probably something you need to get used to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was pretty much all. That was basically the majority of stuff that came from PSX. Wasn't... Yeah. But it wasn't massive, like, they really hit Microsoft hard with this event. This is like, they're making up for Gamescom. This is massive announcements. Like, it was good.
I will say, they've definitely made my mind up for me on which console I'll eventually get. I'll end up getting a PS4 now because of, Cooney.
Oh yeah, I prefer playing my PS4. Since I've got that, I've played that more. That rhymes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still think the Xbox One has come a long way since Don Matrick going, TV.
We're not going to let you trade in your games because I'm Don Matrick and I'm going to ruin Microsoft before I'm done with it.
That just reminds me of there's a podcast on IGN that he was on where he discussed where when he first took over, he basically walked in the room and said, "This is how we're doing it," and like a lot of the like shareholders, other people were like, "Oh, what are you talking about games?" Like, you know, like he came in and was like, "No, look, we're a games console. This is what we're doing." Like, and it took a lot of kind of guts for him to do that, I guess, if he just got the job.
I like Phil Spencer, but I think I don't know. I don't think it's his fault that the Xbox One's failing.
I think they've recovered. They've managed to make the console, you know, worth playing on. It's just that the PS4, because it had such a successful launch, it's way ahead. There's a reason why the sales are different and why.
It's because PlayStation learned from the 360, whereas Microsoft didn't. No,
I'd say Sony learnt from the PS3 because the PS3 was terrible.
Yeah. No, I think because 360 won that sort of console, and I think Sony sort of like realised what Microsoft did better there and improved their console as well. It's like
the PS2 was way better than the Xbox, but the PS2 easily won out of the PS2 and the Xbox. Xbox 360 won out of the PS3 and the Xbox 360, but then the PS4 is going to win out of the PS4 and Xbox One. It's like it's that whole kind of Microsoft curse where when they do like operating systems for Windows, every other one is terrible.
Yeah.
And it's like they have that for their systems as well. Like, the first original Xbox was really not very good. 360 was really good, and then like loads, did really well. Xbox One's not going to. I'm really interested to see if they do another, which they most likely will, another Xbox console whenever that comes out. If they take what they learned from the failures of the Xbox One, learn from the PS4, and do, I'm kind of intrigued to see how that turns out.
Just make sure it's backwards compatible, I guess, because that means everything.
Yeah. Well, that's a long Jesus, look at the time. That's a long discussion, but hopefully if you've been listening to it, you've kept with us this long. If you've fallen asleep, then, wake up. It's time to go to work.
It really is. I don't know if you've managed to make it this far. Write me a haiku in the comments section.
There you go. Then we'll really know. We'll get no comments now. But yeah, that's been all for episode 49. We will try and, if we can, do a Game of the Year episode based on people's time schedules. We can try and squeeze one in before, Ebbie's not available. Steve is going away as well for Christmas. So it's if we can get people in before that, and then we'll be talking about our game of, our top 3 picks of like the games that we thought.
Oh no, don't make me pick 3. I can't.
Pick 3.
Maybe give me 4. Give me 4. Give me 4.
Okay.
I can only get 3.
Okay. We'll pick off the top 4 then, if that makes it easier.
Or let me have 3 and an honourable mention or something.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, we'll have 3 top picks and then on all of our honourable mentions that we have.
Okay.
And then we'll try and do that. Try and record that next week, hopefully. But yeah, that's been all for this episode. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. And we will see you in episode 50.
Big 50, yay!
Woo! Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.